Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair, took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How with the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, thought they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, Bitcoin continuing down towards our next big key level of support, sitting at the 786 at about $85,500. We barely front ran this level so far. Are we going to get a drop down there for a potential bigger bounce to the upside? Obviously, I have been stopped out in profit on my long that we were in yesterday as we were looking at that as a scalp and a continuation down into this major key level over time, even if we got the bigger retracement. And it does look like Bitcoin is hunting out that $85,000 to $82,000 zone. So we're going to cover the next key levels of support. Are we going to front run it and rip up from here, or are we going to roll back over and tap that key level before finally, hopefully, seeing a retracement to the upside? But shout out to the Candle Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got Nicholas with the gifted memberships. Let's go. Shout out to Nicholas. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate you. Very generous. And these memberships are not cheap, guys. Shout out to Keeping It Real. Shout out to Omar. Shout out to Ruan B. Shout out to Ruan B. Welcome in, brother. We got Sean in the chat, Juan, and James, and Little Alien getting the free memberships. Let's go, baby. Drop a thank you in the chat for Nicholas. Thank you so much for doing that, bro. Let's see. We got... oh, my God. Shout out to Darren Does Things at Lighty. Dude, I thought we got hacked for a second. Darren Does Things changed his name. Oh, my God. What the heck is going on? But Darren, is everything good? Are we hacked? Did you get hacked? Did your YouTube account get hacked? Let me know. But shout out to Darren Does Things in the chat, guys. Don't forget to show the mods some love. We got Jesse in the chat, Rob the Crypto Snob, all the mods, Tyler Durden chilling in here as well. Show him some love on your way in, Mafia. We got Thomas. Thank you for the super chat. Said your Discord community is on point and helpful. Thank you. Shout out to Thomas J. Let's go. At Tony D. There's the signal. I don't know if he did this yet, but here's the signal. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Tony D. This is the signal. But shout out to Thomas. Thank you for the super chat. And, oh, my God, Tony D. God. Hang on one second, guys. This man's crazy. But shout out to Thomas. Thank you for saying that, bro. Yes, and speaking of the Discord, guys, let me see if I can pull this up yet. I believe. Bear with me one second here, guys. Come on. There we go, guys. The Black Friday deal. Real quick, I'll just pull up the screen here. The Black Friday deal for the Discord is open. FrankieCandlesTrading.com. Come check out. You guys can't really see those prices. There you go. No sale on the monthly, but everything up from the monthly does have a discount here, guys. So come check this out. Black Friday mega sale, baby. So go check this out, guys. I've been getting a lot of questions when we're going to release this. We decided to drop it a little bit early. So there you go. We're going to let this YouTube is effing up our name tags. Interesting. Shout out to Darren. Darren, did you change your name or is it just messing up the name? Let me know. But there you go, guys. Frankie's the man. Shout out to Jay Danzo. Thank you Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the super chat. But come check out the Black Friday deal here, guys. If you're looking to get into the Discord, not a Signals group, please read through. And if you keep scrolling down here, guys, by the way, all the other Black Friday deals, if you want to get the market cipher, Tony D has listed all of this off. Gobble discount code. But if you come through here, guys, all the discount deals on Lux Algo, Market Cipher, NordVPN, you guys can check all this out on the website. It's pretty much just the whole front page. Come here, you'll get all the deals. And we will be running this through Cyber Week as well. So get in here, guys. We only got only 10 2-year memberships available. We did this last year. We sold out of them very quickly. So yeah, this is the best value, obviously, but obviously a higher ticket. But come check this out, guys. If you're interested, jump on into the premium Discord and hang out with the Mafia and learn how to make money trading Bitcoin, whether the price goes up or down. Never financial advice, of course. And shout out to Nicholas again. Mad Ads, yeah. I was going to say, I thought that was Mad Ads' avatar. Shout out to Mad Ads gifting another 10 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I appreciate that so much, brother. Thank you for the memberships. We got Aziz, Bill, nobody in the chat gets it. Mike, Soul Dave, let's go, baby. Drop some love for Mad Ads in the chat. Crespo Crypto with the super chat as well said, took a 1.04 BTC position at 86,855. Thoughts? Shout out to Crespo Crypto. We'll take a look at that when we jump on into the charts. And Tony D asking us to show those other deals. So yeah, guys, FrankieCandlesTrading.com. We've been getting a lot of questions about it. Go check it out. We will be running it for through Cyber Week. So, yeah, it's live, baby. We're live. And without further ado, let's go ahead. Smash that like button if you have not already. Let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. By the way, guys, this is going to be a famous Frankie Candles short stream. Will it actually be? Nobody knows. You'll have to wait and find out. But yeah, let's see. You're my boy, Frankie. Shout out to Mad Ads. I appreciate you so much. At LFG, these charts are slapping. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, as we take a look here at the charts, I will preface this with, I do not say this to brag. I don't say this because I like saying that I'm right. As a matter of fact, I'm upset that the charts have been correct here. But as you guys know, right, all the way up since $108,000, guys, losing that $108,000 level, and I hate to be repetitive, but I do think it's important. Let me pull up the macro volume profile. Losing the $108,000 value area high. This is really, once we started losing this with our money flow on the higher time frames crossing into the red, this is where things started to look a bit more bearish because we knew once we lost this, we would very likely see the fill of this volume profile. And then once we got down here, we kind of said, like, hey, we'll check in on price. You know, up here, we're looking at the high time frame money flow saying, if we do get a move down here, is it possible to get, like, massive bounces into new all-time highs from these levels? And, you know, now that we're here, we've checked back in on the charts. Unfortunately, all the higher time frame money flows have continued to the downside here. 2-day, 3-day, 4-day also continuing out here. 5-day has crossed over into the red in all of its glory there. 6-day also coming out as well. And then our weekly is also still trekking down. Still pretty thick in the green, but it is technically trending out locally. But this is how we've been able to predict this bigger downtrend, guys. It's very simple. I know a lot of people, you know, and we've been kind of getting a lot of people pretty upset looking for these lower highs and lower lows. This guy's an idiot. Oh, my God. 92K. What a clown. Well... If you thought 92K was bad, 85 to 82K is really the level we've been looking at as the bigger level here. And we knew once we lost this golden pocket, right, from the low to the high, I'll actually just turn it on right here, right, from the low to the high, we have our golden pocket 786. Once you lose the golden pocket, if we could not reclaim this last night, which is what we went over, which obviously we could not reclaim, once you lose this, where's the next place for price to likely go? Well, you're going to be looking down towards that 786 Fibonacci retracement. And when we just look at this from a horizontal support and resistance perspective here, guys, we take a look at it from this perspective as well, right? Like all the major resistance, right, is sitting up here above about $94,000, right? What is this? $95,000 all the way up to about 96, almost 97. And then that next big level of support or confluence is sitting down here between about 84.5 all the way down to about 82.5. Now, obviously, we are getting a little bit of a local bounce. But, you know, when we look at this, we talk about the quick move up could lead to a quick move down. We don't have any horizontal support in here. And when we took a look at this from a visible range volume profile perspective, not CR, VR, There we go. When we take a look at it from a volume perspective, we looked at it this way as well, right? You have a high volume node here. When we came down to that golden pocket retracement, the importance of bouncing off that level was huge, right? Because if you don't hold this level, right, like how were we able to call this move to the downside here, at least eventually? Obviously, I took the scalp long yesterday, but being very, very transparent about the thought process behind that trade. Scalp long into resistance until proven otherwise, right? Until we get just a random scan to the upside for massive new all-time highs or a bigger push up for some reason, that is looked at as a scalp, as any long position throughout this entire downtrend has been looked at, right? And how do we know that this is the next key level? Well, just very simply, when you look at the chart, whether you're looking at it from a volume profile perspective, well, this is a big level of support. That's in the $94,000 to about $92,000 value area low. If you can't hold that and get back above this value, high volume node to get a bigger push up here towards about 100K, well, guess what? You're going to get stuck under that high volume node. We know that fast moves up could equal fast moves down, and it is accompanied here by our volume gap. And look at that. Big old fat candle to the downside. Fast move up, fast move down, right? So it's all based off actual information. And, you know, as we sit down here, you know, what are the chances of a higher low coming in here, guys? I still do remain bearish, right? And even yesterday, I tried to kind of manage expectations on the bounce to the upside, right? Because we had a lot of people that were kind of like, oh my God, Bitcoin's mooning, right? And it's like, yes, you know, when you look at it from a lower time frame perspective, absolutely beautiful move to the upside. But once you zoom out to one of these higher time frames, right, like nothing's mooning, right? It's really just the lower time frame perspective. And of course, you know, sometimes people will say it's mooning when they're just looking at the higher time frames or lower time frames, which is fine. But, you know, from a macro perspective, right, there was no real significant bounce that had come in there. And kind of the same thing right now, right? It's like, oh my God, Bitcoin is mooning, right? Like we're just getting a little bit of a local bounce. But of course, the higher time frame based off the money flow is very bearish, right? And even if we were able to bounce yesterday more aggressively, talking about even if we got to push up into the 103 to 105K zone, like this would still not invalidate the higher time frame bearish kind of sentiment, right? And you can just see how this plays out, right? When you're in these aggressive downtrends, right? Like the anticipation is eventually going to be lower. It would have been nice to get a bigger retracement from there, but now we have gotten that move down towards that 786, which of course has been slightly front run here as we are getting a little bit of a local bounce. And it's the same thing on like all the altcoins as well, right? It's like some of the altcoins, right? It's like, I mean, take a look at Ethereum, right? It's like, come on down to a lower time frame, like, oh my God, we're bouncing, right? Take a look at Solana. Oh my God, we're bouncing, right? But if you just zoom out to a lower time frame, like nothing really that significant, right? I'm not saying it can't turn into something significant, but just like yesterday when we were getting the bounce on Bitcoin, it's like not something that's getting me super, super excited, right? Doesn't mean we can't scalp it for some money, of course, but, you know, of course, the anticipation is for that continuation down. So this is still our next major key level of support down below, guys. Now, are we just going to front run this completely? Well, I can't say it's impossible. Low battery on the mouse, of course, but, you know, I can't say it's impossible just to front run this level, but more often than not, we will eventually see that the actual key levels get tapped. It's not very often that you'll just get a super big front run of these levels and like often to new all-time highs. I would really prefer to get pushed down deeper into this zone to push down towards about 84.5 to 82.5. So that all remains the same, right? And like those key support and resistance levels absolutely remain exactly the same. To be honest, like we didn't really bounce off anything here, right? Yesterday's scalp long was based off our $80,000 value area high or $88,600 value area high. So here we actually did come down to support with some bullish divergences. That's why I took that long that we showed yesterday and then eventually got stopped out of that position in profit. You know, here we just kind of front ran the level. Now, again, that doesn't mean that you can't just bounce here and continue up. But again, the anticipation, just like yesterday, you know, there's no guarantee that you have to get the rejection here, right? But, you know, the overall thought process is scalp until proven otherwise. Letting those bigger moves up hit us by surprise just because they're the lower probability. So it would be the same thing here, right? I'm not long from here, but if we do get this bounce and it does continue, could it turn into something much bigger? Maybe. I can't say that's not going to happen. But for me personally, right, like I would say the higher probability is if you are long here, treat it as somewhat of a scalp to potentially get a pushback down deeper into that level. And that is my plan, right? I'm not saying, you know, obviously not financial advice. You can't just do what some guy says on YouTube, but, you know, that is what it is, right? Hopefully it just continues up, right? I never hate on a move to the upside, even if I'm not long, but I don't know. I'm just very, I just do get kind of suspicious here. Front ran key levels. We also have the 30-minute money flow, or I'm sorry, 30-minute momentum wave looking like it may want to print some kind of a bullish divergence into that zone as well. VWAP comes down, we get the red dot, you get the higher low. This would be something that I would be more willing to take. But again, don't let me change your mind, right? Like, this could eventually come up, But just from a probability standpoint, we could have been wrong about this turning back around, and it could have continued up. That would have been nice. But of course, the TA continued to play out, pushing us down to this bigger key level. So your next target up here, if you are long, right, the next level of resistance I would be looking at is just very simply this value area high at $88,600, right? If we can't get out of there, you might just break down, get stuck in the range. You can't break out. You can't break out. You get back in. Back down towards that POC, which right now sits at about right in the middle of this zone at about, let me just make sure I got this correct. Yeah, sitting right here at about $84,000, right? And of course, you can front run this POC because if we did get a bounce before we get down to that POC, it's not like you're just bouncing off of nothing. You actually are hitting some key levels, right? So we'll see. Hopefully that continues up. But for me personally, you do have some lower time frame money flow as well, right? Like take a look at the 12-minute. The 15-minute, like money flow attempting to come up here, even like on these lower time frames. 7-minute money flow crossing into the green. 2-hour green dot looking to print. That is somewhat of a market cipher B1/16 bullish setup. So if you get that 7 minute to continue into the green, maybe you can continue that trend. That's what I would be looking at personally. But overall, just like higher time frame here, guys. These are the next big levels, right? I'm not going to cover all the intermediary levels. I'm just going to cover kind of the big ones here. Next major zone of resistance sits between about $94,000 to $97,000. We have two daily MPOCs and a weekly MPOC, and I do believe we also have, this anchored VWAP is coming down. This is going to move, though, so I don't know, if we come back up and this continues down, right, it might become confluent with some other levels. And, of course, we do have some, there's going to be local levels in here as well that we'll be looking at in the premium Discord, but from a high time frame perspective, these are the big levels, right, for the big moves, right? All the confluence. There's nothing here. Have not hit support. Again, you can front run it, but we did not tap that, so this is still a valid level of support. And if we do come up first, this is going to be that first major level of resistance. So there we go. Let me come back into the chat here real quick. Yo, shout out to Hopium. Copium said, buy the dip. They say with fire on Copium Road. Hopium is our desire. Shout out to Hopium Copium. Or Hopi Copium. Shout out to you, bro. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is really the next area that I'm interested in significant longs, but even here, right, I am not looking at this as breaks into new all-time highs, guys. I've been covering this a lot ever since we were up near this $108,000 zone. We've kind of been talking about the possibility of a top forming on Bitcoin, and it remains the same, right? Like, in order for this to get invalidated, we really got to get, a big thing to look at from a very simple perspective is going to be the 50-week moving average, which currently sits right here on, hilariously enough, our next key level of resistance above our first one, right? So if we did get, let's say we get the bounce from where we're at right now. Again, I would prefer to come down and tap these levels. Doesn't mean it has to happen. But if we do come up first, this is your first level of resistance. Again, sitting between about 95,145 and 96,888. And then if you can flip that to support and continue up, the next biggest level of resistance is going to come right in here between about 102.8 all the way up to about 105K. Once we start getting above there, all-time highs, right? Not quite. But we have to come up to the $108,000 macro value area low. So again, the further down we go, the more resistance we're just going to have to get back above. If we get back up here, it's like that's the next big level. Of course, this value area low is going to be resistance until proven otherwise. But it's like once we get back in here, it's like you got resistance right above you at the POC. Once we get above here, you got resistance right above you on the 50-week moving average. And it has proven cycle to cycle that, we do eventually at some point often or yeah, I would say every time, not more often than not, but every single time we have gotten, now it doesn't mean it has to happen this time, but, we usually do see a retracement back into this 50-week moving average, right? So, if we come back down to 2021, of course, you get the loss, come back up for the bearish retest, and we've never been able to break back through it this late in the cycle. We could pull up the Bitstamp chart to just kind of show that as well, right? 2021, breakdown, bearish retest, bear market. I've covered this many a times on the show. Breakdown, bearish retest, bear market. Breakdown, bearish retest, bear market, right? So, when we talk about looking for some kind of macro retracement coming in on Bitcoin, the two major levels that we look at is that golden pocket and 786 Fibonacci retracement. Go ahead and pull that up here. Bada boom. So we didn't get it here at the golden pocket value area low. This is the last place to get that somewhat of a bigger retracement to the upside. Now, it's not that you can't bounce from lower, but this is kind of the last place where we're looking, right? Unless if we do not get the bounce here and we break down below the 786, at that point, I'm probably looking to take out these lows below $75,000. So pretty big area of support, right? You could even mark this out as like a gigantic macro zone. Like, can we mute these? Can we turn this off? Like, I know the battery's dead. I actually have a spare battery right over there. Stop telling me. I can see the red light blinking. I get it. You're dead. I see it. But yeah, of course, this would be the place to bounce, right? We look first at the golden pocket. Didn't look good down there yesterday. We talked about that. Bigger push down to the 786 is more likely. And of course, we're front run this level, but if you can reclaim the golden pocket, right? This is a zone between $94,000 and $85,000. Of course, we're not just going to look to take an entry here and go through all that drawdown. I look at this as separate zones, but just to give a little bit of a macro viewpoint of what we are looking at here, it is very, 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 very important if you want a bigger move to the upside. I'm talking like a macro retracement. Where is my what is good with this? Let me hide this real quick. If we're going to get that macro retracement, right, this would be the most likely place, at least as of right now, to get it from, right? And then hopefully we can get the push into 103K. Of course, this would not make me look for a massive new all-time high just yet. If we could close the next weekly candle on Sunday, which looks extremely unlikely right now, but if we were somehow able to flip that to support, I would feel a little bit better, and then we can get above that $108,000 value area high, break back into this range, and then we could potentially start about looking for bigger moves up. But until then, guys, this chart is showing a absolute F ton of weakness. And I remain bearish, right? We've been bearish ever since up here when we saw these higher time frame money flows crossing into the red. These were your opportunities to short. We had a short setup on every single one of these highs in the premium Discord. I closed the shorts that I was holding in profit, obviously. I did not personally catch this one, but I caught every other one. But at this point, right, to catch the shorts, you got to catch these local entries, right? And these aggressive downtrends, sometimes you don't get those bigger retracements that you're looking for. Sometimes you want to come down first, right? But the next significant short opportunity, or the next significant opportunity to look for a rejection, at least, not that you have to short it, we need some kind of bigger push to the upside, right? I need some kind of a bigger retracement. So we'll see. I mean, the only thing I can really look for down here, it's even the same thing as yesterday, right? It's like, of course, I am not going to be looking for longs as we're pushing into a green candle, right? My long was from down here. The only thing you can look for up here is shorts, and we did actually perfectly reject our Fibonacci retracement. If you pull it from the local high to the low, right? We looked at this level yesterday. This was the level we needed to break above in order to give us the sentiment of breaking this high and coming up towards about $96,000, right? But we came up. You got the rejection from that 786 with beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bearish divergences printing there, right? Higher highs, lower highs, back down below the retracement, and nuke it back to the downside, baby. So, yeah, I'm kind of trading very technically, to be quite honest with you. Not technically in the right direction that we want it to go, but, definitely on the right side of the TA, right? And my sentiment was bearish up here, and my sentiment remains bearish down here, right? It's like I mentioned to you guys on the live stream, it's like I got a lot of questions. Yesterday we talked about this, like up here when we were talking about, hey, guys, if we lose this 108K level, probably going to be bearish. We held it. Looked for new all-time highs, we got it. As we started playing back down here, we got the big liquidation wick, and when we started to think about the idea of potentially filling this wick, people started to ask me, like, well, hey, Frankie, if we get, my worry here was that we were going to come fill this wick, which would be very bearish, because if you fill this wick, this is your last level to hold, because if you break down below that 50-week moving average, you're now accepted into your lower value, you're looking to fill the range in full, and that was the anticipation. I said, I'll check back in with you guys once we get down here, because people are like, well, hey, if we get down there, there's a big golden pocket, can we get a higher low for a massive new all-time high? And that's when I made that video yesterday. If you guys have not seen it, I think the thumbnail says bear market starting ? We check back in, and it's like, I don't like the charts down here, right? Like, the money flow is coming out. We'll check back in on the charts. If there's something bullish, I will call for it. But what happens? We get down there. Money flow is continuing out. It just does not look good, right? So there's no reason to be calling for the upside, and we look for the continuation down. And again, it doesn't mean you can't long it on the scalp that we took yesterday, but the overall anticipation is to continue down. The chart is bearish. There's massive weakness here, guys. All the money flow is coming out. You're in bearish market structure here, at least locally. Macro, you can argue you have a low, a high, a higher low, higher high. This could be a higher low. Sure, you have a Fibonacci retracement. But again, all your money flow is pointing in the wrong direction. This indicates lower highs and lower lows. That's my anticipation until proven otherwise, guys. I'm going to stick with it. It's been right so far, right? It's like very rarely does sticking with the charts wind up putting you on the wrong side of the trades. So with that being said, That's what we're looking at. Locally, right, if we do continue up, technically, right, I'm not going to give you the super local levels, but, 91,500 is your value area low. If we could somehow get a retest of this, flip it to support, $96,000 would be the biggest level to look at, right? Once you flip that, this is also the POC of the range. Once you flip that to support, you could start thinking, hey, maybe we're going to go for that 50-week moving average retest. So there it is, right? That's what I'm looking at. I'm basically just sitting on my hands right now. Again, I'm not holding a long. I'm going to see if we can get another drop to the downside. If we do not get that drop down and things start to look a bit stronger, I will just look too long on a retest for a bigger move up. But more likely than not, if we do push up, I will probably be fading those moves to the upside, looking to come back down into our key level, right? Because a way that this could potentially play out is you just get a little bit of a retracement, put in a lower high, and then you come down into this level. And again, could be setting up for some bullish divergences here on the lower time frames as well. So we'll see. I don't like this as the low, just like yesterday. I don't like this as like the low for new all-time highs or a significant low for a massive pump. Just looking for that little scalp to the upside. Let's see. Shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Said Frank, Darren, and Tyler problem. Just ask Darren what handsome and manly Yellowstone character he looks like. If he says Rip, it's him. Ask Tyler if his pro wrestling name was Vegan Honeybee. It was. Shout out to Creighton C. Tyler, I did not know you used to be a wrestler, bro. I'm not going to lie. Vegan Honeybee is a pretty fire name. The Vegan Honeybee. I'm going to call somebody that. And be like, you know what? You're just a vegan honeybee. Shout out to Creighton C. Let's go, baby. Shout out to Tyler. Shout out to Darren. True story. Shout out to Tyler. You used to be a wrestler, bro? That's fire. That is fire, man. Darren is super handsome. Shout out to the real K Diggity. Yeah. Darren does things a good-looking dude. Platonically, of course. Yo, shout out to Aziz said I made 224% on a short trade using your TA basics. Shout out to Aziz. I always say this, guys. We have the premium Discord. Of course, this YouTube channel, this is a business, right? But, I'm not someone who's going to shove my services down your throat, right? Like, there is so much free value on this live stream and the videos and the tutorials on the channel. Like, you don't have to join the Discord. All the free content is here, right? If you want to take your trading to the next level, you can check out the Discord. We're now running the Black Friday sale, of course. But there we go. Shout out to Aziz. I don't think, Aziz, are you in the premium Discord? Let me know. But there's tons of free information here on the live stream, guys. Like my favorite thing. I like to pride myself on offering as the most possible free value here on the YouTube channel. So, shout out to Tay-Tay says, it's not MAGA, it's make Creighton make sense again. He lost it! Shout out to Tay-Tay. Creighton C's losing his mind! Let's go. The dumps will do that to you. And shout out to Mad Ads. Bro, you're going ham on these memberships, baby. Let's go! Gifting the 10 Frankie Candles memberships. I love it. Thank you, Mad Ads. Dude, super generous. This is, what is that? Is that 20 or 30 now? Oh, my God. Hang on a second. It won't let me scroll all the way. We got 10, 20. Is that right? No. Hang on a second. That's got to be a glitch. Okay, yeah, 20 memberships. YouTube's glitching out right now for some reason. And shout out to Darren. Darren, did you change? Let me know. Did you change your name, bro? What is going on here? YouTube's being sketchy right now. Thanks for the membership. Shout out to Seth Shepard. Well, shout out to Mad Ads. 50. Yeah, shout out to. Was it 50? The one panel says 20. The other one says 50. Well, shout out to Mad Ads. Either way, very, very generous, bro. We appreciate you so much, and I know the Mafia does as well. Do you think we get a macro retracement? Shout out to Patrick. Yeah, here's the thing, right? Like, this is where we're hoping for the macro retracement. It's like between the golden pocket again, right? Like, between the golden pocket and the 786 is where you would hope for it. It is where we wound up getting the macro retracement back in 2021. Right, just pulling it from your swing low, your fib from your swing low to your swing high. There's that golden pocket 786, and that is where we ended up getting the bounce, putting in higher lows and higher highs, right? And this is, again, yesterday I tried to manage the expectations on the bounce, right? Because it's like I use this exact example. It's like, oh my God, 786, massive bounce. Like, look at this, Bitcoin's up, 37% in a month, right? Oh my God, this is huge. How could you be bearish? And then even here, high or low, how could you be bearish? Bitcoin just pumped 30. How could you be bearish? Like, we're in an uptrend. All about context, guys. And I'll save you the repetitive analysis here, but like money flow is just coming out on all the higher time frames. It's the exact same situation that we're in right now. So that's just my anticipation. It could be wrong, right? I'm totally fine with being wrong, right? Because we'll just catch another trade to the upside. But this is what I would expect. If you come down to the golden pocket, you get a little bounce. If it doesn't hold, the next place for price to likely go is the 786. You bing bong around in here a little bit for the retracement into the 50-week moving average, and then that was kind of the last spot to either get out or short that thing down into the depths of the bear market. Which, guys, I mean, every day that goes by here that we do not see not only a macro retracement, but like every day that goes by that we do not see this, it is more likely and more likely that the top is in on Bitcoin. We've covered this situation before the drop, right? Saying if we come down here, right? And this is trying to do like the forward thinking analysis, right? It's like when people ask me like, well, Frankie, like how low could we go before you're bearish? It's like really closing weekly candles below this 50-week moving average is really indicative that the top is in. So it's like, yeah, we could come down here. Maybe we slip it. We get back up, and then that's a higher low for a higher high, new all-time highs. But once we wind up losing that, it's very bearish for two different reasons, right? Number one, you're going to get accepted into your larger value area, which would at least call for a move down to $92,000. This is why people call me crazy looking for $92,000. I'm just like, I don't know what you're paying attention to, man. Like, and maybe they would have been right. Maybe there's some universe they would have been right and I would have been wrong, and that's totally fine too. But I'm just always going to stick with the charts. Like, I don't understand. There was nothing to look at here that would indicate like massive new all-time highs from the value area low, right? Maybe sure a bounce, but and it's the same thing down here, unfortunately. I hate to say it, guys. So I'm going to view this the same thing as 2021. I mean, if we take everything off the chart and we just look at this from a Fibonacci / 50-week moving average perspective, let's pull up that golden pocket again, right? Well, there's the golden pocket 786. The golden pocket did not hold up, so we go down towards that 786. We're hoping that you could get some kind of a retracement there. And, every other cycle we have gotten retracements into the 50-week moving average, which has proven to never be able to get broken above. Maybe we see something like that. Could be the higher low, or the lower low and the lower high and another lower low. Money flow points towards that, especially on like the 3-day here. This 3-day money flow crossover is early, guys. This does not indicate that like you have now exhausted the sellers and now you're looking to get a big pump, right? This is just saying that the downtrend is probably on the higher time frames just getting started, right? Now, even if we start seeing some of the higher hourly time frame money flow, not that it's doing it right now, but like say the 8-hour money flow comes up, it's like that's bullish, right? Not really, right? That could just facilitate the retracement to the upside, because when you come to the 3-day, all that's going to present itself as is a green dot, which would be an ebb or flow to the upside for a lower high and a lower low. The exact same analysis, guys, the exact same techniques that we use to identify this lower high and this lower high for the continuation down from all the way up here. It's the same thing down here. You don't want to get super bullish. Everybody hates you. Bigger continuation down. Same thing here. We get the big bounce. Everyone's going to start getting super, super bullish. And, hey, more than likely, that is probably going to be what we're going to wind up seeing if we get the retracement into the $103,000 50-week moving average, right? Now, if we flip that to support, that's like kind of the first local sign of of strength, right? And then once we get out of 108K and we start flipping this upper value area into support, then we could start talking about a bigger move up. But I do see this, once again, as the much less likely situation. It's looking somewhat likely here, guys, that the top is in. Again, can't guarantee that, right? But we'll see, right? All we can do is watch the key levels and hope for that retracement, and then hopefully we can get the Bitcoin dominance to come down a little bit on that retracement. Hopefully the altcoins can get a little pop-up on that. And, yeah, I mean, that's my overall sentiment. My sentiment has pretty much remained the same ever since we got that liquidation wick and broke back down below this value area, right? Meaning the macro value area. And we're not holding it right now. So we got a lot of work to do here. But hopefully, do I think we'll get the macro retracement? It's happened almost every other time, right? You're looking for something like that, or you're looking for something like this, or this back in 2014, it was 2014 was a little bit different. You broke down, bearish retested it very locally, and then you never even really got a big retracement. But if we come back over to our current price action here, let me just take a look at this real quick. Yeah, we never really got, maybe that's your bearish retest. I don't know. It's not guaranteed, right? But we have, it wouldn't be unlikely, in my opinion, if we do get the bigger pop-up, that you get the retest. I can't guarantee it, though, right? It's definitely not impossible just to keep getting local lower highs and continue down. Let's see. What do I think about alt season? Shout out to Velimir. I don't know if I said your name right. I apologize if I butchered that. I don't know, right? Like... Man, what do I want to say here? Like, what do I think about alt season? I think in order to get the alt season that everybody wants, we need a completely different macroeconomic environment. And I know the macroeconomic environment is changing, and they're going to end QT. I get it. It's not the same thing as just like an immense amount of liquidity injection. Until that happens, we are just not in the environment to see a blow-off top god-tier alt season, in my opinion. Maybe it happens, right? Like, again, it's not financial advice, but it's not looking likely. The hope for alt season is kind of the same thing I've said the past couple weeks, couple months, whatever it is, right? Ever since we were up here, or ever since we broke down here, few weeks. You're hoping for the retracement, and you're hoping for Bitcoin dominance to drop on that retracement. And then what I think you'll see there, if you do get some kind of an alt season, is just going to be a rotational alt season. It's not going to be like a massive liquidity injection like we had in 2021. I think you have to wait for money printing for something like that to happen. Now, it doesn't mean some altcoins aren't going to moon. Doesn't mean some altcoins aren't going to do massive X's, right? But that's kind of your hope. You have to hope that you're going to hold this support and get some kind of a retracement to come in here, right? If Bitcoin just keeps melting down like this, the chances of an alt season are almost none, right? Very small. So what you're hoping for at this point, right, is that you get the macro retracement, Bitcoin dominance comes down, and the altcoins rally on that retracement. But again, another rotational alt season, similar to what we saw happen in 2024. We did not have massive money printing, but we did see somewhat of an alt season. We see it on things such as, I think XRP was like the most like straight up in a straight line. That's where you see things like this happen. Now, was this a typical, massive like super X alt season? No. But you see the altcoins kind of do the same thing. But why was this not the alt season that people were expecting? I think it was because of the macroeconomic environment. You just don't have the liquidity, right? There's like not even a ton of interest in crypto right now or back here, and right now even less. So it's like, what was this? You might say, well, if we didn't have the same macro environment that we did back in 2021, obviously XRP is a bad example of that because XRP was suppressed by the lawsuit. But I'm just using this because in 2024, this was basically up in a straight line. You can look at things like Chainlink 2. Come over to the daily, right? Same thing. But why did you see this if we don't have money printing, right? Well, it doesn't mean the altcoins can't do well. What I kind of think that was that, Bitcoin put in a new all-time high, right? Bitcoin puts in a new all-time high. People are taking profits. They roll it into the altcoins, right? That's kind of the rotational Bitcoin rotating into altcoins, and the altcoins kind of follow. I think it'll be a similar thing as that if you do get the alt season, right? But that's all dependent on if you get this retracement, right? If you don't get this retracement, this thing continues to melt down. I mean, I would have to put my bets on alt season not happening at all, right? And I don't even know if I would call this alt season, right? Like, if you weren't calling this alt season, like, I don't know if you're going to, like, if you weren't excited by this, I don't know if if you do get an alt rally, I would call it, here, I don't know if that's going to get your fix that you were looking for here. It's probably going to be something similar. And again, I hope I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We could all just make our best guesses. And, of course, we're using the best thing to make these guesses, which is the chart. But in my opinion, right? So, yeah, I think a lot of people learned, or if we do go into a bear market here, I think a lot of people probably learned some valuable lessons this cycle, right? Like listening to all the, I always see in like the TikTok and Instagram comments, like people are like, you've been talking about this narrative forever, and like we just keep going down. And it's like, I think a lot of people are learning that. It's like I think I kind of went through the same thing. It's like all these bullish news events, like why are we not pumping? And then you start to look at the chart, and it's like ever since once you learn how to read the chart, you're thinking to yourself, well, hey, the chart looks like trash. Like, I don't know if this, very rarely does the chart look like trash and then some bullish narrative that is expected, of course, is going to give you a massive move up. Like, take the XRP ETFs, for example. All right, everyone's like, we've been looking at, XRP not looking super bullish, right? We'll come back over here on the alt chart, right? Like, XRP's chart, like, you're just within this volume profile. When we start looking at these levels, people are like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. XRP ETFs. And it's like, it doesn't translate one-to-one on price. I'm not saying it's not bullish long-term, but it's like, I don't remember exactly when the ETF was, like somewhere up here, I think. That should be like enough evidence to show that like the narratives don't one-to-one translate on price. So it's like you get all these bullish narratives are just I never cling to these narratives, right? It's very dangerous, especially now. I won't cling to the narrative, right? But I'd be more willing to see it from the narrative standpoint if the chart is agreeing, right? And then like you'll have some people being like, well, look at the bullish market structure, and it's like, yes, I get it, right? That's totally correct. You can't argue that. Low, high, higher low, higher high. But again, so it's almost like saying like, oh, there's a level of support here. We have to bounce, right? That's not always the case. And every day I bring up this example. It's like you have the golden pocket 786 retracement. You would think, oh, this is the place to put in the higher low and the higher high. But you're not in an environment that would make this Fibonacci retracement a high probability higher low for a higher high. Money flow is all coming out. You're at the end of the cycle. It's much more likely to be a lower high and a lower low. And it's clear as day on the chart. Now, it doesn't invalidate the fact that this is a 786, this is a golden pocket. You can put in a higher low and a higher high. It doesn't invalidate that idea, but it makes it lower probability that that's going to happen from that level. And I've covered this before we've come down to these levels. We covered this so many times, right? It's like if we come down there and money flow is coming out, my sentiment is not going to be higher low, higher high. It's going to be lower high, lower low. So I'm just going to leave that there, right? Because like I've been covering this, it's kind of the same price action we've been looking at for the past week or so, honestly, ever since up here, right? So dang near, over a month. So, and it just nothing has changed. Now, as soon as something changes, you guys will see me get up here and be like, hey guys, wasn't looking good on our way down here, but now it looks super, super, super good with money flow all faking out. We do not have that. All the money flow is still coming out. This looks very bearish. There's a lot of weakness on the chart. Money flow is looking weak. There's no narrative, right? Especially one that's expected that's going to make me think that that's totally invalidated. There you go. Even a push into 103K, right? We'll be like, oh my God, super bullish, right? Well, I don't know. That's probably where a lot of people are going to start getting bullish. They finally decide, okay, now it's good. And then it comes back down, right? And that's just my thought. I could be wrong, guys. I will never come up here and say, you're an idiot if you're looking for new all-time highs. This is just what I'm expecting based off of what you look at. And if you watch this live stream long enough, you can look at what we've looked at in the past, seen how it plays out, and you can decide if you want to use that information however you want to take it. It's totally up to you. You got to make your own financial decisions. Let's see. Shout out to Moshe. Yeah, we will take a look at Solana, no problemo. Orange Swan events are better. Shout out to Mark. Yeah, those do seem... even this, right? Like, I'll just use this liquidation wick as an example. Absolutely crazy, guys. We got the tweets, right? The orange tweets, they call them. People will say, the chart didn't dump price. The tweets did. How did the chart tell us that this was the short to take before the tweet comes out? All right, I'm not here to say it's a conspiracy theory. The charts really move the price. Narrative mean nothing. I'm not arguing that at all. But what I am arguing is I think like the base understanding of, oh, you're just looking at lines on a chart. You actually have to pay attention. Like, you can't be bearish because of a chart if there's ETFs coming or if there are... I'll do you one better. It doesn't matter what the charts look like if I can find the folder that I'm looking for, right? It's like, it doesn't matter what the charts look like, dude. Coinbase IPO announcement. This is mass adoption. The charts don't matter. Boom. Right? It doesn't matter. ProShares Futures ETF launch. The chart doesn't matter. Boom. And this is not to say that every bullish news event causes a dump, but it goes to show that when the charts are bearish, the news events don't really mean anything, right? It doesn't translate one-to-one on price is really the easiest way I can put that. So you see all these people. It's like, yeah, but like you have to understand all this stuff is happening, and it's like the signs have been here on the chart forever. And when it comes to this big liquidation wick, people will say like, oh, the TI, like some people commented on the video, like, hey, the price didn't dump because of money flow or the bearish signals. It dumped because we tweeted. And it's like, well, then why were we short before the tweet, right? Like, if it means nothing, if you short on the tweet, you're probably going to short somewhere here and get cooked. Right? The place to short was up here before any of that news came out. Right? So even when you have surprising news, more often than not, it is in line with the charts. So not 100%, right? If this was some kind of a bullish tweet, you probably would have seen these bearish confirmations only play out a little bit, and you probably would have just mooned to the upside. But it's an unexpected bullish black swan, right? If it's something that you're expecting, like everyone's anticipating ETFs or everyone's anticipating this one thing to happen, it's like rate cuts, right? Everyone's anticipating a certain type of rate cut. If they cut that exact amount, it's either a nothing burger or you get to sell the news event. It's the same thing with any bullish narrative. And I will just continue to come up here and preach the chart is the dang truth. It's how we make our money, right? If we were losing our money based off the charts, I would stop looking at the charts. So, but yeah, it's very, and I think a lot of people intimidated by learning TA, so they're just like, I don't want to have to learn that, man. It seems really hard, but it's really not, right? I try to break it down as simple as possible, right? We use like hilarious, childish metaphors to try to describe this, describe the strategies and stuff. Yeah, shout out to Dave Hagen, said it's astrology. Yeah, it's astrology for crypto bros. Well, yeah. Shout out to Dave Hagen. I love when people say that. Charts are, I mean, listen, to be honest, I think there's a lot of people out there that are using charts like astrology, right? But when you actually understand what's moving the market, the liquidity, the actual buy and sells, right? If you actually know how to really like read the chart on a, I guess you can call it like a professional level, it is not just astrology for crypto bros. So definitely not, right? Because there are people that just don't want to learn TA. And again, like I don't want to come off like this is the only way to make money. It's not, right? And I'm not saying that the news doesn't matter. I'm not saying the narratives don't matter. They're very important, right? But they're never going to get you in shorts. They're not going to get you in longs at the bottom or shorts at the top. So if you're looking to trade or enter based off that stuff, I couldn't think of a worse way to enter into a trade, right? Bitcoin ETF, right? The famous example. Bitcoin ETF, bullish for crypto long term? Absolutely. Was the launch of those ETFs the best place to enter a long position? No, it was literally the worst place to enter a long position. And I'm sure we could probably find examples. I don't know. It might be hard, right? But you could probably find examples where you had a bullish news event and then it just pumped anyway. But like I would say 8 to 9 out of 10 times it's going to be like that. Again, does it mean nothing? Absolutely not, right? It totally is bullish. But to trade or enter off of that, unless you have a long-term strategy, right? Like if you're just like, well, hey, I want to wait for that news to come out. I'll buy and hold for the next few years. You're probably going to be okay, right? But if you're looking to trade, I couldn't think of a worse way to do it. But if you make money, right? If you're actually out there and you're trading based off the news and you're really making money, 100% more power to you. Don't even listen to what I'm doing. Like at the end of the day, if you're making money, just do your thing, right? I would never try to talk you out of that. I always say that, right? If someone closed their eyes and clicked long and short randomly and they were making money doing that consistently over time, I'd be like, keep doing your thing, bro. I don't know how you're doing that, but keep doing it. Don't chase the shiny object. If what you're doing is working, let it work. But this is just why I don't base my information off this or my decisions off of this stuff. And that's why oftentimes when we're bearish and everybody is super bullish, they're usually bullish off the news events, right? But that just has nothing, that just really doesn't take much, doesn't weigh much in on my analysis. And, you know, if you watch this show and you see this stuff play out, I assume you probably want to learn how to do this, right? And that's why I come up here every day, and it's why I always bring up the past. It's never to brag or be like, look, I was right. I hate that. I think it's corny. But I'm not, take it like this. I'm not bragging about myself. I'm just bragging about technical analysis and how powerful it can be. And I want to inspire you guys to learn how to do this to make better, more informed trading decisions. And there's times where there might be news that I don't even care about the charts, right? Like if I have FOMC, if I'm in a trade, I'll hold the trade with my stop loss set, probably at break even if I'm already in profit on the trade. But for the most part, right, if I'm not in a trade on FOMC and the chart looks really bullish, I'm probably a little more inclined to just sit on my hands. I'm gonna let the volatility come up, right? I'm gonna let the wicks wick up and down, and then I'll find a trade after that all happens. So again, it's not that the news doesn't matter. It's not that narratives don't matter. It's really contextual, right? The way I trade, the way I make my decisions is all based off the charts, and it's just very simple because the chart is either going to give you the signals or it's not. You're not going to be sitting here as like, is this news event going to be bullish? Is it going to be bearish? What are they going to say? Is he going to actually stick to the plan? Are they going to cut rates? Are they going to make a crazy black swan announcement that they said they were going to cut rates and now they're not going to cut rates, right? Like you're just there and the chart looks bearish or bullish. So it kind of takes, it's a non-emotional way to look at the market, in my opinion. Let's see. Shout out to Matt had said the charts don't matter. Just look at them. Yeah, shout out to Piota says the strategy is easy, but getting a good entry is hard. Absolutely, 100%. Like I always say, you could be the best analyst, right? You could be like, hey guys, I'm bearish up here. I think we're gonna go down here, right? You could do that all day long. You could say, I think we're gonna go from here to here. You could do that all day long and be correct every single time. When it comes down to getting the entry, this is the difficult part, and I think it's because, right, when you come down to those key levels, you're looking at this and you're saying, oh, and like I'll take this for example, right, the bounce that we're getting right now, if you want to call it a bounce, right? Like down here, it's like, oh my God, we front ran the level. Do we have the confirmation? Not really. Like, are we gonna front run the level? Or we're not gonna front run the level. And like, this is where you start to get like, oh, should I stick to my plan and wait for the level to get hit? But if it goes up without me, I'm gonna miss it. That's where all the emotions come in. That's why it gets so difficult at those entries. And this is the difficult part of trading, right? It's getting into the trade and saying, oh, I got in, And now I'm in the green, but now we're pushing down. Like, oh my God, should I hold it? What am I going to do? That's where all the emotions come in. And if you don't have a plan for the trade, if you don't stick to the management that you've set out for yourself, and you don't actually stick to the system, and it gets very easy to break those rules, right? Because the emotion comes in. So absolutely 100%. I forgot who said that. Piota. Yeah, 100%, right? Like, I always say this, trading is extremely simple, but not easy. Two things can be true at the same time. Getting jacked, being healthy, working out, and being in shape is simple. Eat right, work out, stay consistent. Simple. But it doesn't mean it's easy to go to the gym every day. It doesn't mean it's easy to stick to a plan and avoid the donuts. It doesn't mean that you're going to put 100%. It's easy to put in 100% effort when you're tired and you get to the gym, right? Simple, not easy. Trading is simple. Buy low, sell high. It's simple, but very difficult, right? Simple as ABC, as difficult as trying to prove a point to your ex-girlfriend. Shout out to J Lopez said Frankie should start saying exactly as predicted. Shout out to J Lopez. Let's see. Shout out to Rudy, said you're talking about me again. I still love you, bro. Shout out to Rudy. I love you back, man. And really who I'm talking to here is my old self, guys. I've gone through the whole journey in the worst way possible. This is how I'm able to relate to a lot of new traders, is because I've literally been through your exact journey. I know what those emotions feel like. I've done this for a very long time. I still do it every single day, and I'm very familiar with it, right? And I think that's why I'm able to express these lessons and help people so well, right? It's because I've actually gone through it. Shout out to Trade with Confidence says institutions know where demand and supply are areas, so they manipulate and liquidate first before they decide where the market goes and stops. Yeah, shout out to Trade with Confidence. I would 100% agree with you there, brother. Can you say ABC backwards? That's pretty hard. CBA. Yeah, I'm saying that right. But anyway, guys, let's take a look at some of the altcoins here. Shout out to Mad Ed said, I hate losing, but I don't want to learn either. Shout out to Mad Ads. Simple men seem to be the best match to complicated women for some reason. Shout out to Wick589. That's probably true, right? Because they're just simple. They probably identify it like, oh, this girl just wants to be right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Good. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing. I probably agree with that. Shout out to Henry, said, take off your cap, Frankie. Man, I might have some hat hair. Every time I say I'm going to have hat hair, I just don't have it. But we'll see. I won't touch it. Usually I'll put my hand through it, but we'll just see. Don't make fun of me, guys. Okay. Not terrible. Not terrible. I pull it up. There's just like 3 whiskers on the top of my head. I'm actually wearing a wig. Oh, anyway. Shout out to Henry. There you go. No cap, baby. No cap. Shout out to Musha, said charge your PC. It's actually my my mouse. It's my mouse. Actually, let me get a battery ready for this, and we'll jump into the altcoins in a second, guys. Quick tip, guys. Do not ever, for the love of God, ever buy Amazon batteries. They are trash. Absolute hot bean water. They last for like 15 minutes. I change this mouse probably twice a week. But anyway, I got the battery ready. But anyway, let's take a look. Shout out to Matt says, Frankie, I ask for ZEC every day. Is today my lucky day? Yeah, we'll take a look at ZEC. I'm going to take a look at Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and then we'll jump into, or maybe we'll take a look at Ethereum, Solana, and then we'll jump into Zcash. Take a look at Ethereum. As we looked at yesterday, I mean, same song and dance here, guys, with the key levels. Interesting how this stuff plays out, right? We ended up, let me pull this chart up real quick. Where we at? Bada boom, bada bing, right? So yesterday, the only level we had was this golden pocket, which of course was already tapped, giving us our first bounce for a lower high to get accepted into the range before putting in a lower low back into the golden pocket. As you guys know, I do not like to see these golden pockets tapped more than once, or Not that I don't like seeing them tap more than once, but I really like to see if you're going to get a higher low and a massive higher high, right? Like you're hoping it happens on the first tap of that golden pocket. Of course, that was not the sentiment here based off money flow. It was way higher probability to get the lower high and a lower low. The only level we had in here yesterday was this daily MPOC where we did put in some bullish divergences, but of course, overall anticipation, and we got a little bounce just like we did on Bitcoin, the long that we scalped on Bitcoin. But of course, right, the overall anticipation is lower prices to come. If you lose that daily MPOC, where is the next place to look to? We have our daily MPOC and our 786 Fibonacci retracement sitting right here between 28.19 and 27.19, and we are currently sitting at 28.33, right into that zone. So you're back at support. We've now lost the daily MPOC. We've now lost the golden pocket. Take that off the chart, and now we are here at that 786. So it's almost the same kind of context as Bitcoin. Bitcoin's coming down to look to tap that 786. Ethereum's doing the same thing here. So this is a zone, brings you down to about 27.19. And yeah, I mean, this is where you're hoping for some kind of a bigger retracement. And of course, my bias here, based off the higher time frames, take a guess. Lower highs, lower lows, right? So any bounces here would still be looked at as scalps until proven otherwise. And, we're now accepted back into our value area, just like on Bitcoin. What happened when Bitcoin got accepted into its macro value area? Well, we eventually ended up seeing the value area low for the full fill of the range. Are we eventually going to see lower highs and lower lows come in here to fill this range in full? Well, that would be absolutely brutal, but it is technically in the cards here with our money flow and our volume profile. Not only are you getting accepted into your profile, but you have also seen your money flow come into the red here. 2-day, 3-day. This indicates the overall trend will continue down. Biggest levels of resistance on some kind of a bounce here on Ethereum would obviously be, I don't want to say obviously, but 50-week moving average comes in at 31.18. This is also like retesting your resistance that we just bounced off of yesterday, or got somewhat of a bounce. Take that at like anyone who was watching yesterday, like feeling very excited on that bounce. I hope I did a good job of like managing those expectations on that bounce, right? It's like, yes, I get it, guys. I don't want to be like the party pooper, right? Like I get it. We're bouncing. Like this is nice. But zoom out, right? Look at the context. That helps you identify whether you should be getting bullish on the bounces or if you should be looking to fade the highs, right? Just like on Bitcoin. Very simple. I mean, if you take everything off the charts and you go into Market Cipher and you just turn off everything except for the money flow, right? If you have Market Cipher B, well, if you don't have Market Cipher B, they do have the Black Friday sale. You can check it out at frankiecandlestrading.com. But if you just look at the money flow, like just play through price action in bar replay mode, looking at your money flow. Like I would recommend like higher time frame money flow would probably be a little bit cleaner to look at. But like you money flow crosses green, the overall trend continues up. This is the 2-day money flow. Money flow crosses red right here. Trend continues down, right? Money flow fakes out into the green. You get a little bit of a bounce. You come back into the green. The bottom's in. Trend continues to the upside. Crosses into the red, trend goes down. Cross into the green, trend continues to the upside. Money flow crosses red, lower highs, lower lows. Bing bong around, money flow crosses green. Now you can start a bigger uptrend. You start coming down. Money flow crosses into the red, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Money flow crosses green, low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Wiggle around, you start getting the breakdown. You already have bearish market structure, and now your money flow is crossing red. So what would you anticipate? Well, I personally would anticipate lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, just like we looked at. You can just go back and look at it. And, of course, you're going to get faked out. Of course, it's not going to be perfect every time. That's just the fact of the matter, right? That's a fact of trading. It's a fact of the markets. But overall, it's going to keep you on the right side of that trade. So there you go. But with that being said, we're at the key level of support. We lose the 786, guys. Very likely that we're going to be coming down here to our next key level of support at 2447. Pretty much leading you. I mean, you have a lot of support. You have multiple support levels down here leading you to your value area low. But at face value, with the money flow coming out here, again, lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. And then you also have the idea of this volume profile in mind, looking for the full fill of the range. This is not 100% absolutely going to happen, right? It's the higher probability for sure, and that's what I'm going for, right? I think I might be one of the only people out there that says, this is what I think is going to happen, But it's what I think is going to happen, and here's exactly why I think it's going to happen, but just understand it can be wrong, right? If someone's being super bullish on a massive dump to the downside, like, it's okay to be super bullish, right? Even if the chart is bearish. But, like, you just have to at least disclaim that, you could be wrong. It's like a lot of people speak with so much confidence when they don't have a lot of information to back it up. So it's like, yeah, I mean, just because someone confidently says something doesn't mean it necessarily is going to come true. So yeah, but that was be my anticipation here. Lower highs, lower lows. We have the 50-week moving average as a pretty big level of resistance to get back above. This sits at about 31.26. So, if we flip that 50-week moving average, we could potentially look to come up and retest the value area high at 35.10 or 35.30 is really the level I'm looking at. But until then, right, it's like maybe if we get to the value area high, you can look to maybe flip the 50-week moving average back to support for a bigger move up. But again, to see this, you would need to see a big red wave. And on the 3-day or the 2-day like this, it is oftentimes takes a long time. So you would just need to see this money flow completely fake out, right? So the reason I say this is lower probability is because look at your money flow pointing in the opposite direction. Right? If you'll notice if you start taking trades against the money flow, you're going to start to just see that you're hitting your head against the wall. Money flow's coming out, but we're bouncing. Let me long it for all-time highs. You're just like you're gonna get tired of just getting slapped around, fading the money flow like that. Sometimes you'll be right. You'll get a fake out once in a while. But unless we did something like that, I'm going to be looking for money flow to continue in the direction it is going. And again, I'm not necessarily calling for $2,100 right now, but until something changes, right? Next target is going to be about 24.43. Doesn't have to go straight down there. You can get a retracement, but that's what I'd be looking at. Money flow still bearish on the 2-day, 3-day coming out, 4-day, still kind of just flat here. 4-day just doing its own thing. 5 days in the red, 6 days in the red, and your weekly money flow is about to cross into the red as well. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, guys. And again, I don't want to say there's no hope for some kind of a shocking bounce to the upside, but it has to be just that. It just has to go. There's no way for me to predict this. There's nothing on the chart saying this is going to happen. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on Ethereum or Erythrium, as your grandmother might call it. Shout out to Peter said Tom Lee was wrong about ETH. I'm not familiar with Tom Lee. I don't know if he said it was going up or down, but shout out to Tom Lee. Let's see. Just because AI said something doesn't mean it's true. I don't trust AI anymore, guys. Especially at least ChatGPT. ChatGPT very clearly. I did this with crypto. ChatGPT will tell you what you want to hear. 100%. You've probably noticed that, like, when you're using ChatGPT, it's like, wow, this thing's really glazing me right now. What the heck? I actually asked it 2 questions. Do you think it's more likely that the bear market is here or the bear market is not here? I asked it twice in 2 different ways. The first way I asked it was like, hey, this is what I'm looking at. Do you, I think that this is happening on the charts, blah, blah, blah. From your stance, do you think the top is in? And it'd be like, well, yeah, it's very likely. And then it's like, well, hey, I give some bullish news, right, or whatever. I give it a little bit of a different prompt, and I'm like, do you think the bear market's in? It's like, well, you don't want to be selling the lows now. I mean, we could go back to all-time highs. It's like it basically just tells you what you want to hear, which is crazy. You'd think a computer would just be 1-0, right or wrong. Now, you literally have to tell it, be a contrarian to what I think, and be honest. Don't just glaze me. Mrs. Candles thinks I groom my AI. We'll get into an argument, and I'll check ChatGPT. She's like, you groom that thing. I've read through your conversations. You groom it. Oh, God. Let's see. How are the altcoins holding up? I mean, I guess, I don't know. It's like they're holding up. I mean, we're holding up right now, right? But, of course, Bitcoin's going to move most things, right? Like, even if we're going to see, like, the alts rally again, like, we're going to be looking for that to happen on a retracement to the upside. So are we going to hold the higher low here or push down towards that 786? And by 786, I mean the macro 786, not this one, but this will be the local level here, 86.414. We lose that, very likely you take out that low into your macro 786. So we'll see what happens here. Super Grok is better than ChatGPT. Shout out to Stupid Bitcoin. I actually use Grok in Mrs. Candle's Tesla. Yo, low key, guys, low key. If you go to Grok, right, put on the voice feature, and just ask her to talk dirty to you with no filter. It's crazy. It's crazy. She said, me and Tony D were cracking up. She says stuff that you would not think would be she'd be able to say. It's insane. It's disgusting. Anyway, don't tell anybody Frankie Candles told you to do that. Thoughts on a 6-month bear market rather than a 1 year since we didn't have a blow off top and euphoria. Shout out to India Martini. Yes, I covered this yesterday. I think there is. I mean, we'll talk about this, guys. We're gonna have plenty of time to talk about this if we are going. If we are going to be going into a bear market, right? Like, does it have to? And again, right? Like, is the 4-year cycle rhyming almost perfectly this cycle? Absolutely. There's your October 20th 1-to-1 time fib, right, where you would expect that big pivot. I mean, it looks exactly the same, right? We've talked about this. It's like to the day, almost the same exact thing. So from a timing perspective, it's like very likely the top is in. From a timing perspective. The only argument for a super cycle, right? They call it every year, guys. I have said this every day on my channel since I've started it. Super cycle, probably not. Super cycle, probably not. Super cycle, probably not, but maybe one day correct. But what I do think is probably going to be something that would be legitimate is that maybe the bear market is not as intense as the previous ones, meaning like 70 to 80% corrections. I do think there is a reason to think that could be possible based off the fact that you did not have euphoria. That will kind of mute the panic selling. Because you don't have all the euphoria coming up here, all the retail coming in on euphoria buying the tops. You don't have the blow off top. You have institutions in the game now. Maybe that helps prop price up as well. So there is an argument to be made that maybe the bear market is not as extreme as you would expect it to be. I think that's valid. Now, how low could you go? I mean, I think at least down into the 70s and 60s is probably very likely. But let's measure this out, right? So, like, if you go into about 70,000, that's a 44% dump. 50% dump would give you about 61K. If you come back down to these lows, that's 54K at a 57% correction. 70-ish, right? We'll call it 75, because every kind of bear market gets a little bit less, right? So this one was 77%. Maybe this one's like 75. That would bring you down to 31K. The funny thing here is almost all those corrections do line up with massive key levels. I can't say, right? It's going to be a if this, then that situation, right? If they start printing money, right? Not NQT, but actually start printing money, depending on when that happens, I think could change the length of the bear market, right? Like if they start cutting rates, if they start printing money sooner than later, well, then maybe it's a little shorter. But who knows, right? Maybe they just take a lot longer and you wind up just seeing the traditional bear market come in. That's a possibility as well. But it'll be a kind of wait and find out kind of situation, right? Like you have all your key levels of support. Once you start coming down to those key levels of support, you could start to look at the reactions, pay attention to the macroeconomic situation. Like if we're at 73K, right? Let's say we're testing these range highs and like there's still no sign of money printing. There's no significant bounces. Money flow is still coming into the red. Then at that point, you would be thinking to yourself, well, hey, this is probably not the bottom. But it really depends, right? If the chart looks really good at $70,000, right? Well, maybe it looks good. I don't really think that's probably going to be the case, but maybe it is, right? I just don't know. It's the same thing that, when we look at this macro volume profile, it's like, hey, Frankie, can we get higher lows on this golden pocket for a massive new all-time high? My guess is probably not, based off the way money flow is probably going to look down here. And again, we check in on it, and we do indeed see that this money flow, it's exactly what we look for, right? Up here, we were like, if we get a push down here, I have to assume that once we get down here, this money flow is just starting to cross into the red, indicating the macro downtrend is probably just starting. So it'd be the same thing in the bear market, right? It's like if you come down to your next key levels, right? I'll pull up our macro range. Right, you have the macro bull market range here between about 57 and 30K. I'm not saying you have to go all the way down there, but let's just say we did get a push all the way down here, right? Things start to look really good. Weekly money flow is not just crossing into the red. Rather, the weekly money flow maybe is in a big red wave and crossing back into the green. Well, maybe we could start talking about bottoms coming in there. But if it looks really bad, money flow is, maybe money flow is kind of early in the crossover into the red, well, then we could probably expect lower highs, break it down into the range, into your next key level, which technically would be about 39 to 34K. So it's like, depends on what the chart looks like down here. I would assume Yeah, I don't know. It depends on, how much time goes by. It's a little harder to call this because it's much further away, but I'm going to approach it the same way I approached this, which wound up being amazing, right? Because it was exactly what we expected. It's like, if we came down here and money flow was coming up, I'd be looking for massive bounces. But it's not. It's just harder to say this because it's a lot farther away. What I can say is if we pull some of our other levels of support here, you have your volume profile here. It's like maybe we get down to about 70K. That's probably likely, especially if we can't hold this 786. Very technical here, right? You can't hold that 786. I am fully anticipating to break down that below that low, which would bring you directly into this value area high, right? So do I think that if we break the 786 and take out 74K, that this is going to be the bottom of the bear market? Well, if we get down there and all this money flow is scooting into the green, right? Maybe the 3-day money flow just is, somehow comes into a big red wave and is crossing up and it looks really good, then maybe that could be looked at as a macro bottom for massive pushes. But I would have to assume, just like back here, right? If we get down here, I have to assume money flow is probably still in the red. I would assume, like, once you get down here, that weekly money flow is probably just starting to cross over into the red, which would indicate what? Lackluster bounces, much bigger drops to the downside. And then that's where it really starts to look like a bear market. Now, remember, we were looking at this weakness all the way up here. By the time we break this low and start pushing lower, people will be like, oh, bear market. And it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously. But we'll see, right? Like, that's the one good thing about the charts is, like, I think everybody just wants up or down, right? And it's like, I would definitely say down is the higher probability here. But it's like, if something changes down here, like, I'm willing to change my sentiment, right? But I just need to see the signals. Just like down here. If I saw it super bullish, you guys would see me come up here and be like, hey, guys, we thought this was going to look bad down here, but now that we look at the charts, it looks really good. This is actually nice for new all-time highs. But we come down here, and it just still looks like trash, unfortunately. Shout out to Jay. Says people are so bullish on BTC and then wrecked. Yeah, I mean, it's a name of the game, honestly. Most people get wrecked any cycle. If BTC comes down that much, won't altcoins just like disappear? Shout out to, dang, man, that name. I'm just going to say Saba. Shout out to Saba. Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't anticipate some kind of a random altcoin cycle, like a random alt season as Bitcoin's in the midst of an absolute nuclear move to the downside. I would probably look for altcoins to follow. So, yeah. Who knows, right? Like maybe this will be the cycle we look back like, yeah, guys, remember, that was back in, I don't know, March of 2026 where we got that random alt season. Maybe we look back and say that. But, of course, we'll see things on the charts that'll call for that as well. So we'll see. I just got to bring the information here, guys. I've been saying this a lot. It feels really repetitive. I actually thought about taking a couple live streams off just because, I think, I've been kind of stating my case here for so long. Now, of course, we like to cover the local levels for the traders, but, long term, I think we had the things we wanted to look for to see it get saved, and it's just not popping up here. So the best case here is a retracement. Dominance comes down, alt rally. We get the retracement on Bitcoin. It's not until we start getting really above like $110,000 where I'd start looking for higher prices. Super low probability at this point, though. Not a lot of people want to say that, though. But I hope I'm wrong, right? I pray. If I'm wrong, if this is wrong, guys, woo, baby, we will have a party. And I'll wear like a dunce hat or something. I don't know. How do I feel about BTC on the yearly time frame? Not really a chart that I pay much attention to, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to answer this simply. I don't really have an opinion on this. What I can say is that we actually looked at the cool. Can't hide this. There we go. Let me hide some of this stuff, right? Like when you look at the yearly time frame, take off the 50-week real quick. Those are the candles. Let's take the 50-week off here. The next candle after you're having is, I guess we didn't even really get the, there's the bear market candle. So you had a green candle, kind of like a little blow off. Yeah, it actually is a little different. It looks better on the 2-month. Looks a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? More rhyming with these cycles, but I don't really have much of an opinion on this. There's not really much that you can do with this, to be honest. You have a yearly level of support here. I could say this. 16K yearly level of support. You also have one at 3K. I wonder if this is what people look at when they were calling for 3K last cycle. They're like, we have to come back down and test this yearly support. Maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a opinion on this. There's no real, there's no information on market site or anything like that either. One thing we were looking at on the 2-month yesterday and a few days ago as well was the 2-month red dot, which is just another thing that has indicated a bear market, right? 2-month red dot, top is in, bear market. 2-month red dot, I'm in the camp that this was the top, the true top in 2021 with a dead cat bounce sweeping the highs. So if you look at it from my perspective, that's a 2-month red dot, top is in. One more numerical all-time high, but pretty much just a sweep for lower prices or bear market. And then there's your 2-month red dot with your mega 2-month red candle. So it's like so many things rhyming there, guys. It really is insane. All right, so let's continue on here. All right, looks like we'll see. Maybe Biddy wants to go tap those key levels there. Really needed to hold this if you don't want to come back down to that bigger, more key level of support. But we took a look at Ethereum. We took a look at dominance. No update on dominance, guys. I'm not even going to cover the dominance today. Solana. Hide some of this stuff. So yeah, Solana, we did end up tapping the 786. We got a little bit of a bounce, but again, you do have your value area low, your daily MPOC, and your daily horizontal down here. So you're still above your value area low, right? So if you do continue down on Solana, the nice thing here is you do have the value area low to potentially hold that support, looking for a bigger retracement. You would have to reclaim that 786, and that is if the bounce doesn't happen from where we are right now. But yeah, I mean, that's your support right there. It's really sitting between 129.61 and 124.58. Once you lose that, I mean, you do have some other levels down here. You have a daily MPOC at 119. You have a daily horizontal at about 113. You have, and then you have a lot of confluence down here at about 105, 106. But at the end of the day, it's like if you don't want to take out this low, you're kind of hoping that you hold that 786. It doesn't mean that once you lose this, you're guaranteed to just nuke directly below that low. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high, right? Well, this is kind of the place you want to bounce off of. If you lose that, eventually you're going to be looking to take out that low. So yeah, from a high time frame perspective, looks the same as everything else. Money flow on the higher time frames are bearish, guys. Have been for a while now. That's why the directional money flow is so helpful here. It's not, I mean, it's a lagging indicator, right? But the trending nature of this can be very leading, right? Especially if you go down to a lower time frame, right? Like this daily money flow is coming out for quite some time. You break down with this big wick. You're thinking, hey, are we going to fill that wick? You're below your value area high. You're thinking, are we going to go to that POC? And then you see this money flow coming out, also indicating that you're going to get a bigger push down. And from a simple volume profile perspective, break in, can't get out, can't get out. POC is the next likely place for price to go. Money flow is in the red, so you're looking for lower highs and lower lows, which already lines up with filling that range in full. All these things perfectly lining up in the right direction. I wouldn't say the right direction. Very arguably the wrong direction, but in the same direction, I should say. So there you go. But yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on Solana. Let's take a look at the lower time frames. Yeah, I'm going to stay off the lower time frames here just because money flow is super choppy. 4-hour money flow was trying to come up. It's coming back down. Very clearly there is strong weakness in this market, guys. Money flow tries to come up on the 4-hour, just nukes right back down. And again, that's front runnable by the high time frame money flow. So that just is what it is. But you're at support, right? Again, this is not a place where I would look for a fresh short. Doesn't mean it can't continue down, right? But like this is just not a technical place I would look to take a short. I would either be looking for longs at this level or wait for a retracement to take shorts back down. But yeah, other than that, I would expect this to follow whatever Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin wants to hold where it's at right now and get the retracement, maybe we can get a stronger bounce from here. But if Bitcoin keeps nuking, we're probably coming down to those next key levels. Let's see. Shout out to Seth Shepard. Said later, everybody. The Hawks are on. Shout out to Seth Shepard. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Hawks. Biddy got a green dot on the 1 hour. Shout out to Mad Ads. I do believe there was one about, red dot about to print on the 1 hour. So no, we had a green dot, but now it does look like it's rolling over. Or no, I'm sorry, that's not on Bitcoin. That was Solana still. Same thing on Bitcoin, though. More often than not, Market Cipher B is almost going to be exactly the same on most altcoins, right? Unless something like Zcash does something completely different, then that will obviously look different. But more often than not, Bitcoin's Market Cipher B will mimic. The altcoins are probably going to look very similar, right? And you can just see this on, like, am I tripping? No. 2-day money flow crosses into the red on Bitcoin, right? You look at Ethereum, it's the same story, right? 3-day coming to the red on Ethereum, Bitcoin, same story, right? Which makes sense, right? Because Bitcoin moves everything else. Let's shout out to Mad Ad said this regular Market Cipher B is so much different than yours. Shout out to Mad Ads. You might have to. It might just be the colors. I have a lot of visual changes here on this chart on my Market Cipher B, or you might be using a different indicator potentially. Will alts ever cross the 2021 top? I'll tell you this: a lot of them aren't going to. A lot of them probably are not going to. But yeah, some of them will. Some of them will. A lot of them won't. So yeah, that'd be the simple answer to that. Shout out to Crespo Crypto said, "What do I need Mrs. Candle's Tesla for when all Frankie does is talk dirty to us?" Oh God, man! Oh God, what do we start here? Yeah, shout out to Hopium said, "Moon Boy's yelling to the moon, but the charts are saying not anytime soon." Yeah, that is pretty much the. I would agree with that. All right, so let's take a look at. We took a look at Ethereum. We took a look at Solana. Let's take a look at Zcash. Thing is still just. This thing is unstoppable right now. And I actually covered this, guys. I did talk about, now maybe this winds up changing, but we did talk about this in one of my market updates where we were talking about, Zcash getting the push up, but 90% of the altcoin market is not following this, right? Like, I think a lot of people are like, this could be the start of alt season. Maybe. I don't think that, but, we talked about this when this thing started ripping. It's like, not any of the other altcoins are following. This is just like an isolated rally on Zcash and privacy coins. But we almost got pushed up into our next key level of resistance here. Or what was yesterday? Yesterday was the 19th. So, yeah, we're kind of in the same spot. So, we looked at Zcash yesterday, right? Same story. You're above your first target. This is the first major Fibonacci extension target. Once we hold, if you can continue to hold this, right, like the next target to look at is going to be between 827 and 939. That's simple. As far as like Market Cipher, very difficult, right? Like if you look at your daily's just cracking in the green here. You do have some bearish divergences forming here on your daily. Yeah, actually confirmed higher highs, lower highs. But I mean, we'll see, right? Like, this is your next target to the upside, and then, like, your next significant level of support, if you do wind up getting some kind of a bigger retracement down and you lose this Fibonacci extension zone, is going to be your golden pocket 786 anchored VWAP sitting between 407.49 and 307.38. That's about all I got here, to be honest, because this thing is just chopping around up here. So, next big target, 816, I call it, 820 to 944. Key level of support, 402 down to 310. Golden pocket 786 anchored VWAP, and then this is just a Fibonacci extension zone. Here, probably a no trade zone for me. If I had to look for something here, probably be more inclined to look for a short, but not that I'm saying this is a good short setup, but this is just no trade zone for me personally. Yo, shout out to Tuesdays Gone, bro. Shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Tuesdays Gone, and he would be correct. Tuesday is gone as it is Thursday. Is it Thursday right now? Good Lord, guys, I'm losing track of the days. Tomorrow is Friday. We're going to be doing some giveaways tomorrow. So stick around. Tune into tomorrow's live stream and stick around to the end to win some free crypto. Smash up that like button, guys. By the way, if we get, call it 650 likes today, we'll give away some Frankie Candles hats. Shout out to Mad Ads. Peace out, y'all. Happy trading. Shout out to Mad Ads. Thank you, brother. Have a great night, and thank you so much for your generosity, bro. Gifting all those memberships. We appreciate you so much, man. Shout out to Mad Ads. Enjoy your night, brother. Shout out to Alex. Said I still believe in Santa, fairies, and unicorns, but in alt season, no shot. Yeah, shout out to. I mean, it's definitely hard to come up with a. Again, like I think the argument for alt season, I think talked about yesterday how like I crypto has such like a kind of cinematic like vibe to it. It's like people like bear market, parabolic bull run, alt season, right? But it's like. It's just a market that goes up and down, right? Like, that's the reality of it, is like these mythical kind of, I don't want to say narrative, but it's like, it's just like very, and listen, guys, I've lived through parabolic alt seasons. They are mythical. But it's just like, I think a lot of people are just hoping, I think a lot of people are sitting here being like, what happened to the alt season that I was promised from watching all these YouTube videos? Oh, wait until alt season. Like, where is this alt season? And I think the argument is just to look for the retracements. And again, I still think that'll be a rotational alt season. Unless it's accompanied by massive money printing, I think it's going to be a rotational alt season. Not that it's not going to be glorious and your alts are going to pump. But I just don't know. I really do think the macroeconomic situation has to change here in order to see that God tier alt season. So, all right, getting a little bounce off that 786. Look at that. Look at that. That is astrology for crypto bros right there. Just randomly drew this line that meant nothing, but for some reason you tap it and bounce. Very interesting. Let's see. Shout out to Vel. I can't read that full name. He says the same person will say in 2 months, yeah, we're in alt season. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if alt season does happen out of nowhere, right, like, let's just say alt season starts out of nowhere. Let's say Ethereum rips into new all-time highs. Like, at that point, right, like, you kind of have to say it's alt season, right? Like, you don't really have a choice, right? At least for me personally, right? And it also depends on how you define alt season as well, right? Like, if you get the retracement on Bitcoin and alts rally, I just don't know if it's going to be like the mythical alt season where, like, your whole portfolio is 50xing, like, every time you look at it. But, yeah, I mean, 100%, right? Like, if we go into an alt season, right, out of nowhere, and then it's like, you have to say we're in alt season. But to guarantee that it's going to happen is a totally different thing. But I think a lot of people are upset, right? Because I think a lot of people, especially if you're on Twitter and stuff, it's like you've been promised this crazy alt season time and time again. Like, even throughout this whole cycle is like everybody's just been calling for alt season, calling for alt season. It's just never happened. Like, the only time it really happened was back here. Like, maybe that was it. I don't know. But yeah, I think your hope now, if you're looking for alt season, is that you get some kind of a big retracement, dominance falls, and the alt rally. That would be kind of the alt season I would look for. And then, listen, like, if things reclaim and it looks like it's going to be that mythical alt season, well, then that just is what it is. It's just, I don't really see the, if you look at dominance, right, you can argue that, you're rejecting resistance here, right? This was the big level that we had on the chart forever, ever since we came down here and made this low, right? We look to retrace into this level. This is your first opportunity to get a massive drop on dominance. It just doesn't, I can't guarantee that that's going to happen. The one nice thing here is if we take a look at the weekly, you do have your weekly red dot printing. So if Bitcoin can rally from like around where we are now and get that retracement, and Bitcoin dominance can fall, that could be where the where you see alt season happen, right? Like, it depends on how you. I think most people are looking like most people. I think a lot of people would look at the alt season that we got here and say that wasn't alt season, right? It was an alt season. It just wasn't the alt season they're looking for. I don't know if you get the alt season on this retracement. Maybe it is the God tier alt season. We don't need money printing. Maybe that doesn't matter. That's just what I'm paying attention to. But if you don't consider this alt season, I don't know if you're going to consider this rally on altcoins if we get it on the retracement. I don't know if you're going to consider that alt season either. Hopefully, it winds up being it. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Vel, said yes, the same thing when BTC was pumping from 50K. People were saying it's not a bull run, and then it hit 120K. Yeah, I mean, that's just classic, man. I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, listen, you should, in my opinion, you should have to take a test before you make YouTube videos. But, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's like people are calling for the death of crypto here. Exchanges are falling. Don't you get it? Time is different. 3K, 5K, 12K, right? Or actually, I was looking between 12 and 14K. But like people are calling for 8K, 3K, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like, look at the chart. You got massive weekly bullish divergences. Money flow is coming back up. Like, this is the start of the bull market, right? And shout out to Vel, bro. We have people saying recently the bull market starts on November 7th, November 3rd. It starts on October 17th. And it's like, I don't know what, like, we have already had the bull market. I don't know why people would say that this is the start of the bull market. I don't know what they're listening to, what they're looking at, what they're basing it off of. But, like, to say that, like, this is the start of that, I mean, you think, like, breaking 50K is crazy to say the bull market is starting. People were saying the bull market's going to start here. Like, in what reality? Especially when you look at the cycle chart. Like, at what point why would you ever expect the bull market to start here? It's like very clearly you're at the end of the cycle. Unless the cycle completely breaks, right? But it does look like this is just another time where those cycles are getting very close. And regardless of if it's a traditional 4-year cycle bear market or not, like the chart's still bearish, probably still very likely to come down. As soon as it changes, you know, if there ever is a sign, right? Like if you see the Bitcoin dominance just start free falling from where we are, and maybe Bitcoin doesn't get a retracement. Maybe Bitcoin goes into the massive bounce, right? We get a new all-time high. Then you could get euphoria, and maybe that would facilitate more of the God tier alt season. But I would have to see that come in. There's just nothing really calling for it, right? It looks a lot more like a retracement type of alt season than a parabolic new all-time high on Bitcoin, massive liquidity, euphoria type situation. But if that presents itself, right, if we start coming up here, we start breaking the all-time high and retail comes out of nowhere and we start mooning, well, then now you're just simply in that environment. And, you know, we could just take that as it comes. But, yeah, I mean, it's just simple. People get bullish at the top. They get bearish at the bottom. It's a tale as old as time. What needs to happen to fix money flow? Shout out to Mr. J. I mean, it just needs to not matter, essentially. It just needs to completely I don't really see a situation unless, like, to be honest, guys, like, getting above the 50-week moving average seems like a miracle at this point, right? Like, I said in the beginning of the week, it's like if we could somehow rally back up above that 50-week moving average before the candle close on Sunday, well, that could, you know, we could start to think like, all right, well, maybe the top isn't in now. Because remember, that big signal that we were looking for here is multiple weekly candle closures below the 50-week. We only have one candle closure. Now, when this happened, it was obviously a very aggressive candle closure, right? A very big candle closure. But, like, for this candle to moon up and close above this even seems like a miracle. It's not impossible. But if we could do that, you can start to think to yourself, all right, well, we got one weekly candle closure, still not good, but at least we were able to reclaim it. It starts to look a little bit better. But if we close this weekly candle down here, guys, I mean, it just does not look good. So, yeah, like, in order for money flow to fix itself, at least on, like, the 2 and the 3 day, I mean, really what you would need is you would just need this money flow to come back into the green. But it's like if the 2 day comes back into the green, you also need the 3 day to come back into the green. And then it's like, to be honest, right? Like, there's a situation, guys, where you could see something like this happen. You get the push, you sweep the high again, and then you come into a bear market. Like, that's possible too, right? So, you know, it's like we're all just making educated guesses here. And obviously our educated guesses have been right thus far. But, you know, in order for me to see new all-time highs for Bitcoin, like, it just has to happen. There's just, like, you know, it's either just got to push into new all-time highs, or we have to reclaim all this support with all the money flow aggressively pushing up, not some kind of fake out to the upside like here, right? You get money flow coming out. This looks pretty bearish, and then money flow fakes back out, but it's eventually just a lower high and a lower low. You sweep the high. This is pretty much a lower high, and it continues to trend out, right? You've already been in this massive green wave for quite some time. It might be some time to spend some time in the red. So it's like you really just need to have it scan back to the upside. Not something like this, right? It's not the second it crosses over that it's bullish, right? Because, again, let me try to find another example. Like even here, right? It's like, you know, money flow. We get the high. Money flow is trending out, right? We get another high, but money flow is just still generally weak here. And what happens? It's a sweep and a dump. Well, I'll tell you what it needs to look like. It needs to look like this. This is a legitimate money flow fake out. Into the red, massively into the green. You're cracking the previous highs, putting in a high, a higher high, a higher high, a higher high. You need it to massively come up. You do not want it to do something. Trying to find a reverse fake out here. Right? This was just super choppy, right? You don't want it to look something like Yeah, there's like bearish fake outs here. I'll just use a bearish fake out as an example, right? Like here, you've spent time in the red. You cross into the green. Oh, no, we're back in the red. But it's like, you know, this can just kind of chop around a little bit. But overall, it's trending. It's more about the trend than the instant crossovers and crossovers like on that zero line. It's not like, oh, my God, we're in the green. Oh, my God, we're in the red. Oh, my God, we're in the green, right? It's overall trend, right? So when I see a little crack into the green here and back into the red, I'm thinking, all right, this could easily just be a continuation of that trend into a bigger green wave, if that makes sense, right? It's like even here. It's like you come up, money flow is coming out, but we just spent a bunch of time in the red. It could be time to spend some time in the green now, right? So it's like you would expect this to trend back up, and then on this push down, it's like, well, hey, this could just be a low before a higher high, if that makes sense, right? You have a high and then a higher high. But you're expecting that trend to continue. You already spent a lot of time in the red. And of course, you're in a different part of the cycle here. There's a reason to expect the continuation up, etc. Here, it's just like you're at what you would think is the end of the cycle. You know, all the money flow is looking super bearish. The one money flow that I am usually pretty decisive on the actual crossover is the weekly, right? Like every cycle, the weekly money flow crossover has 100% indeed indicated, number one, the top is in. Number two, you're about to dump into the rest of the bear market, right? There was no fake out here. It was crossover into the red, absolute straight down. Crossover into the red, absolute straight down. And then here it did fake out a little bit. Bitcoin was a different animal back here as it was much younger, just a little bambino. But, you know, at this point, it's like, look at this massive green wave. It's probably time to spend some time in the red. So does this push into the red and then that fake out into the green make me think, oh, my God, moon, new all-time high? No, right? It's just looked at as this is probably going to be a lower high for a lower low. So it takes some time of looking at money flow, seeing it play out, experiencing the fake outs live, where you could actually get your thumb on the pulse of like how to predict the fake outs, when to expect it to continue down. It takes a lot of time of looking at it to understand that. Shout out to Mr. New Creation. What is going on, bro? Welcome. Andy says 3-day market cipher B VWAP is moving up. I know money flow is coming out. No money flow is in the red, but is that still some hope? Yeah, I mean, listen, it's local hope. You know, we talked about this yesterday. Was it you? Maybe it was you that asked the question. I actually don't think it was, though. Someone was saying, like, hey, do you have any information on this momentum wave on the 3-day? I mean, what can I say from this, right? What's the information we can take away from this? Oversold. Excuse me, oversold, right? VWAP's coming up, looking to print a green dot. That's positive, right? I wouldn't say it's bullish for new all-time highs, but it's positive, hopeful for some kind of a push up, right? So maybe that 3-day green dot is what we need to start a bigger retracement to the upside. It wouldn't change my overall thought process. Like even if this 3-day money flow cracks into the green, just like I just showed, it could just be a fake out before a bigger trend down. Our hope, and that's why I say, if we, you know, what do we need to see to have that money flow fake out? We need it to come back into the green and then absolutely moon, right? We don't want something like that, right? We don't want that, right? You're in the green, you're in the red, you're back in the, well, it's kind of upside down because this is like the reverse example. But you need it to like really come into the green. You would actually want this exactly to happen. You would want fake out into the green, massive push into the red. Why do I think it's less likely here? It has a lot to do with the timing of the cycle, the loss of the 50-week moving average, right? Like when you're looking at it here, it's a different situation. The context is the most important thing. Here, it's like you're in the red. It's like, okay, cool. But you're not dealing with the fact the market's much less bearish at this point. You're way above the 50-week moving average. You're putting in higher lows. It's a totally different situation. You're not at what you would think is the end of the cycle. You are coming up close to it. But like here, it's like from a timing perspective, you're what you think is the end of the 4-year cycle. You're below the 50-week moving average. You have all the other money flow coming out. It's just a much more bearish situation here. Like this fake out is not the same thing. Like it's much more likely that you'll get a fake out into the red and back into the green at this point, above the 50-week, further back in the cycle than you are to get the fake out here, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but you just really got to get money flow to come up and really start pumping. Not impossible. That's the hope. But at the worst case scenario, right, you would think that green dot could at least give you some kind of a retracement, some relief, even if you are going to put in that lower high and the lower low. This might be the case here, right? And then people will be like, head and shoulders, head and shoulders. 60K. But yeah, I would say, 3-day, definitely looking at least a little hopeful for a bounce. And then as we get the bounce, the base case is lower high, lower low. And then if we flip the 50-week moving average, again, if we have 2 weekly candle closures down here, it's still not looking that great. But it's like, all right, this looks a little better. Maybe money flow is really starting to pump here. It's like, all right, this actually looks pretty good. Maybe we could send it to all-time highs. I want to be clear. It's not impossible to put in new all-time highs, but we are running out of time, in my opinion. And again, the charts aren't really pointing towards it. But not impossible. I just don't want people to hold on to hope, right? Like I can't sit up here and like morally sit up here and say, don't worry about it, guys. Like, it'll fake out. The money flow will fake out. We're bullish, guys. We're bullish, right? Like, there's just no. It would be irresponsible for me to say that, right? It would also be irresponsible for me to say, guys, panic, sell your bags. We're going down in a straight line, right? Like, this is why I try to like call out these moves and kind of how they will happen, like how we predicted this, right? I try to predict exactly what this is going to look like. If we get the push up here, I will reanalyze money flow. I will reanalyze the charts and see if there's a reason to flip bullish. If there's not, I'm just going to stick with the overall continuation. High probability, low probability, not impossible, right? But I'm not going to say, guys, the Bears are morons, guys. This is definitely going to happen. But I also can't say it's impossible. But definitely the higher probability is going to be this until we see something change. Shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto. Says, as Americans, we are entitled and we believe our markets won't collapse, but every nation across the globe has experienced a currency collapse. My country is in that situation right now. BTC won't collapse, but every American exchange can. Shout out to Satoshi. Yeah, I mean, it happens. And I think it's like, if you guys, here's some homework. Look up The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. If you have not watched that video, go watch that video. I think Americans are 100% extremely complacent. I would agree with that. Shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto. Go watch that. The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. Amazing video. It does seem, I think America's coming up like on, I think it's like every 100 years or something. I think America's like on that curve where we are like about to potentially see the fall, or what they would expect to be like a challenge of the world powers. Shout out to Rag Capital City saying there's a chance, buy the dip. Yeah, I mean, shout out to Rag Capital. 3-day green dot, bull market, baby. Yeah, into the red, into the green, into the red, into the green. Shout out to New Earth. Absolutely. Great vid, Changing World Order. Yeah, it's like, it's amazing. I can't believe that guy puts that stuff out for free. Shout out to Mike. Says, are you telling me that Jake Claver, who's Jake Claver? Jake Claver's XRP guaranteed $10 by year's end isn't going to happen? WTF! I sold everything, including my dog, for that bag. Ugh. Shout out to Mike. I hope he's right. I hope he's right. I'll say that. If someone's looking for $10 XRP by the end of the year, I mean, from a timing perspective, I mean, if Bitcoin could somehow pull off a miracle here, flip above the 50-week moving average, continue out of the value area, and snap up above all the macro resistances, which this has obviously moved drastically. There's your 786. Here is your golden pocket. I mean, if we could reclaim the 50-week, get back above all these fibs, and just start mooning into new all-time highs, maybe XRP, or maybe even happens on the retracement. I hope so. It's not looking likely. If I pull up the XRP chart here, for me personally, to feel a lot better about XRP, I'll take it every step of the way, right? By the way, there's the key level from yesterday. Tap now, golden pocket, just below the value area low. If we can get back into this volume profile on XRP, flip it to support, get a bigger push into the POC, or get above the value area low, push into the POC, flip the POC. It's really not, right? Like, there's again, from a context standpoint, you have to understand when the time is to say, oh my God, we're pumping, this is bullish, and when you are pumping for a very, like, oh my God, we're bullish. No, you're not. Oh my God, we're bullish. No, you're not. Oh my God, you're bullish. Yes, you are, right? To tell the difference between that is very important. To be able to tell the difference between that is very important, right? So it's like, we could rally up here to the POC and get rejected. We can rally up here to the value area high / value area low and get rejected back down to the bottom of the range and continue down. It's not for me until we can get accepted back into this area of value and hold it as support, where I would be willing to look higher. Maybe that happens if Bitcoin retraces and we see dominance fall and the alts start to rally and we get that kind of retracement alt season happen. Maybe we can move it up to $10. But it's not looking good at the moment. I will say that. But things can change, right? And again, I will change. If it looks good, I will come up here and say it looks good. Right now, though, with all these high time frame money flow, 6-day money flow crossing into the red, weekly money flow crossing over into the red, what does this indicate? This indicates that the higher time frame downtrend is going to continue, right? This rally does not invalidate that, right? Maybe you get the weekly green dot, maybe you push up. That would not invalidate the money flow continuing for lower highs and lower lows. Pushing up to the value area high wouldn't mean that either. It's not until we flip that, and we'd also need money flow yanking back up into the green. So you just have everything is kind of pointing against us here. But hopefully Bitcoin can get the bounce here, guys. If Bitcoin can get the bounce and we see that bigger retracement, we could potentially look for the alts to get a little bit of a rally on that dominance coming down. And again, you have the weekly red dot on the dominance, which is better than not having a weekly red dot on dominance. You have the daily green dot looking to print, but your daily money flow is starting to cross over, or starting to trend out here as well. We talked about this past couple of days. Like, you could argue maybe this is the top of the money flow wave, which would be very nice. Excuse me. But again, we'll have to see how that plays out. Your 2-day money flow trying to roll back over, but your money flows, your VWAP is coming up, but your money flow in the green could roll over. Really what I'm watching here is the 4-day money flow. I have the alert set here. If this 4-day money flow crosses over, maybe you can get the bigger drop down. But it's really just a wait-and-see situation. So hopefully something like this could give you the alt rally. And then maybe XRP goes to $10. I hope so. It's not looking very great, though. Let's see. Finally back in the kitchen. Shout out to Mystic Ruin. Welcome back, brother. Said the deal was too juicy to pass up. Let's go, guys. If you're just tuned in, we did drop our Black Friday Friday sale for the premium Discord. So check that out if you're interested. Not a signals group. Please understand that. Shout out to Moyd, said Frankie made a great amount of profit yesterday, longing and pulled out. I thought you were saying I made a great amount of profit. I was like, Moyd, you made a great amount of profit, longing yesterday and pulled out. Thanks. Shout out to you, brother. Just in regards to small pumps up like today, for example, if we longed from this point, should we go up maximum 5,000 for BTC? Shout out to Moyd. I don't know exactly what you mean by should we go up maximum 5,000? Yeah, if you let me know exactly what you mean, maybe you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly what you mean by up 5,000. Who doesn't want to see PTC at 60K again? Probably people that have not taken profits. I would assume. Shout out to Lucia, said, Frankie, if the $786 and $80,000 range is lost, what are you expecting? Well, let's just pull up the key levels. Hide this range, I'll hide this range. But I will pull up the confluence, and I'll pull up that 786, right? So maybe we front run it, right? I'm not going to say you're guaranteed to come down here. Obviously, I would personally prefer to see that tapped. But if we come down here, guys, and we do not hold this, I actually talked about this earlier, right? You're hoping that, like, this is kind of the last place to look for that retracement, in my opinion, which, again, is kind of the hope for the altcoins as well. If we don't get that, right, and we just come down here and we lose that 786, I am pretty much fully anticipating a break of the low at $75,000, right, which would probably bring us closer down to 68, 65, and potentially $60,000. And also back down to retest this previous value area that we have down here. So when you look at it from a volume profile standpoint, right, we're just looking at this like auction market theory, guys. At the end of the day, I mean, even if you extended this all the way to the right, it's like, here's your upper value, here's your lower value, right? If you can't hold the 786 for a higher low, right, and get the retracement and, of course, the miracle Hail Mary for a potential new all-time high, if you are going to get a loss of that 786, the idea of the higher low is invalidated. I'm looking to take out that low, and then the next place to start looking down to is going to be sitting right here on our previous value area between 70,500 all the way down to 60K. So it's like, here's your value. Once you lose this value decisively, price is going to seek out fair value down here. So mark my words, right? If we lose this, this is the range you're going to be playing around in. 100%, right? I don't want to say 100%, right? Maybe we just get a bounce off a random imaginary level and we moon. But, that's what you would expect based off auction market theory. It's just value. Once you lose this value, price always seeks out the fair value. The next closest fair value is very simply sitting down here between 70 and 60K. Doesn't mean we have to come down there right now, right? Very likely it's going to get if we are going to go into a bear market, right, it's going to be like, oh my God, we're bullish, and then it's boom, right? But yeah, I mean, we're here, guys. We're here at support. This is the level that we need to hold. Maybe we get another push deeper into this confluence, right? But like, this is the level to get the retracement. If we lose that, the only other thing I can picture is like maybe you get some kind of like a crazy weekly SFP into the weekly into the weekly naked point of control at 78K, right? And it looks something like that, and then you get the retracement or new all-time highs, right? Of course, that is the less likely scenario. Something like that. But we'll see. Things can change here, guys. And that's the hopium. Things can change. It looks really bad, right? But things can change. Here's the hopium. Shout out to Nitro, said I want to move back up so I can open a bigger short. Yeah, shout out to Nitro. Me too, bro. Me too. If you've been following along, you guys will know my short up here wasn't on the chart. I was traveling and visiting family here, so I wasn't on the charts to take this, but it was a setup in the Discord. I missed that. And just really no opportunity to catch another really great short, right? Like, this was the last really good short opportunity. Before that, it was right up here. Also a setup in the Discord. And then also over here, another trade that we were looking at in the Discord from the pretty much the all-time highs, right? Like, these are the significant low, or first one was the all-time high, significant lower high to short, significant lower high to short. And since this, right, it's like the one that I missed. I catch these two, and I did close them for massive profit, obviously. Probably should have left at least a little bit of it running, but this was literally the one that I missed was the last chance for the big drop. It's okay, though. We've caught scalps at this point, right, recently, since I'm not holding that short, right, like just been catching the scalps like we were showing yesterday. So not that you can't make money. It just does get a little frustrating because it's like, man, it's like you call for the move in the Discord, you look for the trade, and you're just not there to take it and it plays out. But shout out to the Mafia. They a lot of people made money on that move, so that kind of makes me feel a little bit better. It's like, I could have been on the move, but at least the Mafia is out there making money too. I told people to take some profit for your boy. R.I.P. What moving average do I have up there? That is the 50-week moving average. Shout out to Georgie. Thank you for the super sticker, bro. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, man. I don't know if you meant to make that a super chat or not, or if you're just dropping a tip, throwing dollar bills for your boy Frankie Candles. I love it. Shout out to Patrico. Says 2017 and 2021 bull run had one last fake pump, and boom comes the bear market. Yeah, that's the hope here, right? And I don't know if it's gonna play out exactly the same. But, I mean, if you just, all we can really do is look at past history and, use that information to our benefit, right? And if we pull that 50-week moving average back up, by the way, whoever asked me about that 50-week moving average, it's actually this indicator here, weekly and daily SMA 50, 100, 200 by VSTHR. It's free. I don't have any affiliation. I don't know who this is. But I like this because it allows me to look at the 50-week without being on the weekly. If I go down to the 4-hour, this is still the 50-week moving average. If you just use a regular moving average and you go down to the 3-hour, this will be the 53-hour candle moving average. So it won't be the same. So that's what I like to look, because I like to see this on the lower time frames as well. But, right, if you look at it previously, it's like there's the drop, there's the retracement, there's the nuke. There's the drop, there's the retracement, there's the nuke. I'll actually pull it up on Bitstamp, right? Drop, retracement, send it. Drop, retracement, send it. Drop, retracement, Send it? Maybe. Maybe. Did not have that in 2014. Now, obviously, Bitcoin was a different animal back then. You did still get the retracement. It was just much more aggressive. Drop, instant retest, down. Which could be, unfortunately, arguably, I'm hoping for something like 2021, but arguably, breakdown, retest, nuke it. Hopefully that's not the case, though. Hopefully we can get the bigger retest. And that's the hope from now. Right? We're at support. Be aware. We are at support. Hopefully we can get the continued bounce. I would personally like to see the 786 tapped. If not, right, and we do get the bigger move up and it looks really good, I will just find a retracement entry to ride that long position. But more likely than not, I probably will just be waiting for the key levels of resistance to look for the short. So that's what we're looking for, guys, on Bitcoin. Shout out to Jay, said this is so bad. It's definitely not looking good. That's for sure. Money flow settings on my indicator. Shout out to Blah. Shout out to you, brother. There you go. I don't have anything changed on this page. It's all just colors, and I take the RSIs off and the plot backgrounds. So you can screenshot these and copy them. I do hope we retrace, but maybe don't, so people give don't get into Giga Shorts. Shout out to Brillo. I guess the $17,000 ETH Tom Lee. Who's Tom Lee? $17,000 ETH prediction's not happening. I mean, listen, it's it's kind of my targets for Ethereum if we went into a massive bull market, or I'm sorry, massive alt season. Let me just hide this stuff real quick. Just hide all this. My targets, let me see. Did I have a $17,000? Not that I would expect $17,000, but it might have been on like the super upper end of the targets. Yes, I mean, my targets here, right? Number one was major target sitting up here between 58 and 7,300. Yeah, I don't know. 17,000. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, not that you couldn't get to 17,000, but like these were the major bull market targets. I probably wouldn't be looking. I mean, this was the first major one. And of course, I think if we get an alt season, right, or got an alt season, like this is pretty conservative, right? Like I think most people aren't even like 58 to 7,300. That would be like the real big target. And then once you get above that, you can start to look up towards about 10 to 11K. At that point, it's like, I don't know, how much higher are we going to go? Again, it's kind of like a if this, then that situation. If it comes up here, it looked really good, we would look for that next target. But my highest target up here was 15,000. But that does not mean that, I'll always say this. That does not mean that we were going to hit this, right? It doesn't mean that you have to hit it. I mean, heck, if we came up here and it looked really bearish, we would just say that's probably it. But yeah, I mean, the highest target I had was 15,000. But by no means would I ever say like, never would I ever hold my whole bag hoping for $15,000. That's how people round trip their bags. It's like, I don't know. It's like no one really wants to hear have a plan and take profits along the way. No one wants to hear it, guys. And the reason for it is just simply because of greed. People don't want to hear, yeah, but like then I'm only going to make 50K instead of $1 million. Well, if the market allows you to make 50K and not $1 million, you're only going to make 50K. It doesn't care what you want to make. It doesn't care what target you want ETH or whatever altcoin to hit. Right? It doesn't matter what you want. The market does not care. This is why it's so important to read the charts. You can't just listen to someone say, and I'm not saying that you did this, by the way, but like, you just like, even if it was me, if I said, guys, Bitcoin's going to 200K, which obviously I think you all know was not in my cards, but Bitcoin's going to 200K. You should never just buy something and then hope it hits 200K because some YouTuber said it, whether it's me or somebody else, doesn't matter. You have to have, for me on Bitcoin, of course, I have had my plan set here for quite some time, right? I have my massive targets for the bull market. I showed this yesterday. Where is it? All right, just to give you guys some ideas, if we do go into a bear market and we do end up seeing where's my am I tripping? Might be on this chart actually. No way. Did I delete it? Well, I'll just pull them up fresh here. right? For me personally, as I was buying the bottom of the bear market, these are my targets. All based off Fibonacci extensions. Target number 1 was right here, between $92,000 and $102,000. That was the first time I took profit on Bitcoin. Target number 2. This is actually, I don't think, pulled perfect. Maybe it is. Just double check it. No, it is pulled. Wow, surprising. Second target was sitting right up here between 137 and 155K. And we actually have one more extension level down here. Where is it? I'm not sure exactly which one it was, but it was at about $123,000, I believe. So we hit the top of that target. So we technically hit the top of this upper target. So target number 1, target number 2. Yes, we have target number 3 at $209,000. But as I've mentioned many a times, I was not going to hold my entire Bitcoin bag until we got up there, right? Bitcoin doesn't care that I want 200K. Bitcoin doesn't care I want 155. Bitcoin doesn't even care if you want 102, right? It's all going to, like, if the top looks like it's going to come in here, we would have been looking for the top to come in there. If it looks like it's coming in here, you look for it here. If you go up to 200K, well, that's beautiful. But you need a reason to get up there. So just don't, excuse me, try not to hold on to your bags just waiting for some arbitrary target. There has to be a reason. That's why you want to have multiple targets, right? Take a little profit here. Get up to your next target. Maybe take a weighted profit, right? Maybe you take 20% out here. Maybe you take 30% out here or 40% out here. And then you start taking a higher and higher percentage amount of profit as you get it to the next targets. But never a guarantee that you're going to hit every single target, regardless of where you're getting them from, right? If you hit the first target, it looks like the bear market's coming, well, it's probably going to come in there, right, based off the charts, right? Just because you have that higher target doesn't mean it has to get hit. So I would recommend, like, finding those targets, and we'll have them in the next bull market. We've been talking about those ever since we broke above ever since we broke above the 30K. We were looking for those targets to get hit. And mentioning, partial take profit. DCA out just like you DCA in. Right? But most people aren't going to want to do that. They're going to get super euphoric up here and be like, we're good. I'm up massively. I'm just going to hold forever. I'm going to wait for, 200K is definitely going to come now. But you got to pay yourself, right? Otherwise, you wind up round tripping your bags, which is very difficult to do. Very difficult to endure, I should say. Very easy to do, very difficult to endure. I wish I could find my, I don't know where my Moon Mission folder went here. I guess I just don't have it. Oh, here it is. Right on time after I redrew it. But there you go. These were the targets. Target 1, target 2, target 1, target 2, target 3. This was 123 to 137. And even if we did go into a bigger push up here, guys, like this was my next major target. As we talked about, if we push up here, I am mostly out of the market at that point. We didn't wind up hitting it, but if we did, right, like that's why I was very open to the idea of the cycle potentially ending. And maybe it's not over. I don't want to make it sound like it's definitely over. It definitely looks very likely that the top is in, but I don't want to make it sound like it's a guarantee because it's not. But like even here, if we continued up, I've mentioned many a times that like I'm not expecting this thing to just moon to $200,000, right? Because we were running out of time, right? And money flow, everything was looking like it wanted to fade out. So it's like 137K. I'm mostly out of the market. I would be mostly out of that market. Mostly out of the market at that point anyway. And a lot of people didn't want to hear that. And look, we didn't even, if we go into a bear market, it's like, you didn't even hit that target, right? People are like, wow, this guy's only looking to 137K. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. And if the bear market comes in, right, you're going to look back at it and be like, dang, we didn't even hit that target. I thought that was conservative. And that hopefully kind of like calibrates your thought process, right? Like all these thumbnails and clickbait, ETH to 20K, this point to $50, right? It's like, There's a what's the word? There's a tactic there, right? Obviously, right? You got to play the game of YouTube, right? People aren't going to click your video if you say Bitcoin to 137K, right? People are going to be like, it's lame, right? They're not going to click the video. So I get it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I just want everyone to be aware of that, right? It's like, you don't just take arbitrary price targets, right? And hey, if we do go put in a new all-time high, it basically my sentiment remains the same, right? Like I'm probably very, very cautious around 137. If it looks good up here, we can look to get up to 155, maybe into 175. But I'm like heavily out of the market. Like I'm already at this point, even at the first target, I was up 440% on my Bitcoin. About. right? Second target, you're up 550%, right? So it's like even from here to 150K is an extra 28%. If I'm already up 500%, it would just be silly not to take some money off the table up there. And I talked about that when we were here. And if we retrace, I will continue to pull out of the market, right? And there will always be a portion that I'm still exposed with. So if we do moon, right, still exposed, still making money, right? But I'm just not willing to bet my entire bag that this is very high probability because it just doesn't look like that on the charts. Hopefully it is, right? Maybe you do hold the higher low and you put in the all-time highs, and if that happens, I'm happy as a pig in rolling around in the mud, right? Because I'm still holding my profit, or I'm still holding my portion of my bags. But I'm also, you have to split the difference, right? It's like, I mean, you could go all in. At the end of the day, it's like, listen, you could just buy the dips on Bitcoin. I don't do that. Like, I don't never sell, right? It's like, but even if, like, buy the dip, now you're up. It goes back down. You're still in profit. Buy the dip again. Make more money, right? Come back down. Buy the dip. Now you're up money. It's like a good way to increase your wealth, right? Now, are you going to make more money if you ride it up, sell the top, buy the bottom, ride it up, sell the top, buy the bottom, ride it up, sell the top, buy the bottom, ride it up? Sure, you'll make more money like that, but it's all about your plan, right? It's like if you're just looking to slowly invest on the dips and just hold it for 20 years, then that's a plan, right? You just stick to that plan. It doesn't mean you're stupid for not selling the tops and buying the bottoms, because the people who try to buy the tops and sell the bottoms, like myself, sometimes you get burned, right? Where that other person's like, man, I just kind of sit back and buy the dips. I don't even have to pay attention to the charts, right? So it's all about like personal preference, right? There's really no right or wrong way. Yo, shout out to Thesis. Yo, what is going on, bro? Thank you for the super chat. Said Tyler just called me and said BTC to 137K tonight. Hashtag all in. Yo, let's go. Shout out to Tyler Durden. Come on, baby. 137K. It's a lock. It's a lock. Shout out to Tony D. Said the current sale on the thank you for the super chat. Current sale on the Discord runs until December 8th. Thank you for that date, Tony. So if you guys come on over to FrankieCandlesTrading.com, you'll see the Black Friday deals here. I said Black Friday deals again. Black Friday sales on the Discord here. And if you scrub down, you got the Market Cipher deals, the Lux Algo deals, and the NordVPN deals. Tony D, do we have the TradingView deal as well? Let me know. But yeah, guys, check this out. We'll be running until December 8th. If you guys want to get in the Discord, not a Signals group, once again, not a Signals group. But with all that being said, guys, let's see if we can hold the support here. If we do get another local push down, obviously we do have the big $85,000 to $82,000 zone. But yeah, we're just kind of holding these. I don't know. I don't really see a lot of support down here, to be honest. Let me just pull this up on the Bitcoin chart real quick before I let you guys go. Bada boom, right? So local levels I'd be looking at right now. Value area high, 88.6. If you can get back above there, you really got to start pushing away, right? Because, again, you could potentially kind of fake out the value area high, get back in, and start pushing deeper into our level. That bigger zone of support does still sit down there. Maybe we front run it. I personally would rather this level tapped, but again, not impossible to front run there either. But yeah, you got to get out of here first. And you can even look at this little local range right here as well. So I'll give you these local levels before we rip on out of here. So key level number one, going to be 88.6. Get above that value area high. At that point, you're just looking to come into your local range, flip the value area low at 89.82 support. POC sits at 91.224. Value area high sitting at 92.676. So those are the local levels. Again, I would really prefer one more drop down here. Can't guarantee it. But, of course, if it does just rip, we could always find another entry on a retracement or something like that. But that's my overall thoughts here on Bitcoin, guys, and some of the altcoins as well. And I will keep you guys updated here on the live streams and the market updates. Hopefully we can start at least getting relief so we can start talking about some upper targets, even if they're local. But, yeah, I'm kind of sick about talking to the downside. Or at least when we're in a short, we could be a little bit more excited. Shout out to Gene, said I'm new to the channel. Shout out to you, brother. Hopefully you're subscribed and you smash that like button. But he says, if we go into a bear market, how long would you think it'll last? Well, if it is a traditional bear market, which you would expect it, let's pull this up, right? We'll just measure, from the top to the bottom, right? So historically, we can see here that it lasts, I mean, even if you go wide range between 300 and 400 days, right? Like, it's even tighter than that, though. 415 days back in 2014, 365 days exactly a year in 2017 or 2018, 375 days in 2021. So if you get something around there, 370-ish days, if you get the traditional bear market to play out, you're looking at about 370 days from the top, right, from the current top, to see the bottom come in. Now, if we see a shorter bear market come in for the because of the reasons that I mentioned before, no blow off top, no euphoria, no retail panic selling, institutions, etc., money printing, all that stuff. If we see it shorter, maybe it winds up being shorter than that. But like traditionally, you see it last, between 415 and 365 days. So something like that. This brings you to about October 2026. If it's going to look like it's going to come in sooner than that, we'll have the signs to look for that, right? Like back here, when I started saying it was very likely that the bottom was in here on these weekly bullish divergences with money flow coming up, I would have been looking at this with all these signals, whether it was at 14.5, 15.5, 12.5, 16.5, right? I would have really just been looking at the confirmations and whatever, and we have the estimation. Mine was 12 to 14K, and when you see those confirmations come in at if I was looking, 14K was the closest level I was looking at. Those confirmations come in at 15.5. That's good enough for me. I see the signs. Looks more like the bottom. We're going to front run that $114,000 level and continue up. So if we see those signs present themselves before the traditional amount of time that it takes, then we'll see that on the charts. But traditionally, you'd expect something around there. So there you go, guys. But with all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. Shout out to Jesse. Yo, Tony, what is up with these dang YouTube names? Tony D's name is weird, too. But thank you guys for being here. Shout out to Moshe. Shout out to Maverick Cycle. Shout out to Robert. Shout out to Axamel. Shout out to Gene. Really trying to pronounce some of these names gets difficult. Shout out to Vel. Shout out to Rudy and Crypto Hollywood. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. Shout out to Vel. Said, give some love to Mrs. Candle. Shout out to Val. I'm going to try, brother. I'm going to try. A whole 30 seconds. I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, I'm getting unhinged here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out the Discord sale. Check out the links in the description down below. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm going to get that second bell. Where the f*** is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Shout out to Servando Estrada. Said, amazing short stream. Yeah, guys. It wasn't a short stream. I tricked you guys. We actually, we're going on 2 hours and 17 minutes here. I'm gonna wait for 2 hours and 18 minutes. Hang on. We got a time limit to fill here. Smash the like button on your way out. Shout out to Hosa. Shout out to you, brother. We got 3 seconds left. And that's all the time I got for today's live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time. Hasta pasta. Frank Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run